good order. Yeah, Dr. You go to see where it says iris, gain, shutter speed. Click on gain. Gain. What is go up one. And then there's a little button.
Welcome to the May 1st, 2025 meeting of CB2. Happy Labor Day, everyone.
Oh, no, go.
If you'd like, let's.
Oh.
There's no flag. This is the flag. We're doing the flag of the United States of America.
How do I get this to expand?
Whoever's speaking,
Yeah, I've been. Okay, now you can go. Go back to the center.
All right, we will get started with our comments from representatives of elected officials, starting with Evelyn Lee, usually.
Also looking forward to Tiffany.
Hi everyone, I'm Evelyn Lee from Conversion Business Office. Nice to see you all again. There's very much on my end today. We survived 100 days and there's more to go. It was very confusing where sad and a lot of chaotic 100 days, so we're just keep fighting. What can I say? Just a few, we have a passport events coming up because summer is coming, so remember to check your expiration dates on your passport. Don't do it when it's too late. It's gonna be May 18 at Forest Hills the post office. Also a reminder, I know Mercedes-Benz is gonna announce their real ID events again, but just in case, we actually just got a confirmation from your passport agency. If in case you can't really get your real ID in time by May 7th, you can also ask for passport renewal because that's gonna serve as your proof to border flights. So just the information, and obviously if you need help, always call the office. Thank you.
Any questions? Thank you for that speedy report. Next is Mercedes from State Senator Marcos Maris. And then Jamie.
Good evening, CB2. Thank you so much again. My name is Mercedes Jennings. I'm the Community Liaison for State Senator Michael Chineris. Good news, the budget has finally passed. April 30th. Oh my God. It is a grand slam $254 billion budget deal. Some of the highlights of the deal are as follows. Funding for the MTA capital plan and
payroll mobility tax. What that means is that the Senate did not want small businesses to contribute because they contribute enough. So they are trying to push for the 5,000 major corporations in New York City that make $10 million or more to contribute through their taxes to help support the MTA and give a break to small businesses. In addition to that, they are including funds for cell phone ban in public schools to increase students to stay more focused in the classroom, discovery law reform, strengthening involuntary commitment laws, and inflation refund check. In addition to that, there is funding for a program for housing. I am working on getting more details. Hopefully I can give that to you in the June meeting. Oh, sorry, okay. I was like, that was a fast 2 minutes. So there is it is a housing plan, so there is funding for that for New Yorkers. I will give you more information in the June meeting concerning how that's gonna roll out. In addition to, there was funding that was passed for Mitchell-Lama. I am not sure of the exact amount. I think it's around, I think it was around, I don't want to say the amount yet because I need to get the final numbers, but there was an amount for Mitchell-Lama. So we do have one Mitchell-Lama major program in our district, which is Big Six. So they will be benefiting from that funding as well. In addition to that, the senator office this Saturday is going to have another Real ID DMV event. We are already booked. 100 people signed up in under 24 hours. It's going to be at the Steinway Library, and they will have an opportunity to get the Real ID. We are working really hard with the DMV because they are literally inundated with the number of people that need their IDs. So we're trying to work hard to get it at least also at Woodside houses. There is a lot of seniors that reside there that really need access to the DMV and can't readily get there back and forth. So hopefully we could be able to provide that service to them as well. Just two last points. The senator is also doing an event next week on May 10th to support IEP resource information to students that go to school in District 24. So he will be talking there about the importance of IEP and funding for those programs. And lastly, the senator did state this at the Spectrum Live yesterday, that if the federal government does cut certain financial programs that are necessary, like Medicaid, Medicare, as well as certain education programs from the federal government, they will go back into session to try to see how they could fund those programs. One last thing, a lot of constituents had called us and emailed us about two issues that are impacting Community Board 2. Just wanted to let the Education Committee know that Aviation High School sent us over 130 emails concerning trying to get funding for a test not nuclear, but a testing power plant for their science program. So I just wanted to let you know that we got a lot of emails concerning that to see how our office can help, but I wanted to also let you, the Education Committee, be aware of that. And lastly, the Transportation Committee, we got a lot of emails and calls concerning how the MTA is changing a lot of the bus lines, one in particular, the Q32 stop by St. Barnabas Church. There's a lot of people who are elderly that rely on that stop. So just wanted to let you know about that as well. Any questions? Hi.
Who wants to be my corner?
I know that was a mouthful, but I wanted to make sure I gave everybody the full update this month.
Yeah, but they can't hear you on Zoom.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome, of course.
Two questions. One, I hear that families are getting a check for $400 and individuals are getting a check from $200 from the federal or from the state government, certainly not from the federal government.
I think that's part of the inflation refund check, which is one of the highlights of the budget. I don't want to say absolutely yes. I can follow up and let you know for sure, but I believe that that's part of the, like I say, the inflation refund check.
Okay, because I think the community would be happy about that.
Yes.
And then my other question is, since the budget didn't address the potential cuts from the federal government, will the senator be going back into session in the fall?
Yes, so
Did you answer that? I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I can reiterate again. When he did speak to Spectrum Live yesterday, he made it very clear that this budget was passed based on the contingency that if the federal government cuts certain major programs like Medicaid, for instance, Medicare, or the Department of Education, for example, that they are willing to go back in September to have a special session. You're welcome. Anything else? Thank you so much. Have a wonderful night.
Jamie, then Tiffany.
Hi, everyone. The weather's beautiful, so I hope you all are able to enjoy the sunshine and that you have a good spring/summer. My name is Jamie. I'm from Assemblymember Raga's office. I have a few updates. So for the Assembly, we did just pass an extender today, and we're hoping to start voting on Monday. As I mentioned at the last meeting, Assemblymember Raga is still pushing to make sure that we get adequate funding for Mitchell-Lamas. as well as, making sure universal school meals, that there's more money for housing access voucher program. Right now, they've agreed to about a minimum of $50 million, but the Assembly member does want to see an increase of that because he does know that's not an adequate amount of money to fund the amount of vouchers that would be needed by the state for the housing crisis. Also want to say that the Assembly member is still pushing in regards to foundation aid funding, specifically for our New York City schools. And I also do want to mention one bill that he just co-sponsored, A6955. This one's in regards to lithium-ion batteries. There's actually one storage facility in Maspeth Middle Village that's actually really close to a school. And a lot of these storage facilities, this lithium-ion batteries have been catching fire and they can cause a lot of explosions. So this bill is pretty much setting guidelines and regulations that these storage facilities housing these batteries can't be near a school, residential areas. We want to make sure that we're protecting our residents and that people are safe, especially with our children. For upcoming events, we had a bunch just happen and a lot coming up. So thank you so much to those who showed up to our community cleanup. We had 125 volunteers come up and we were able to clean parts of Jackson Heights, Woodside, Elmhurst, and a huge shout out to a lot of the CB2 partners that really partnered with our office. Thank you so much to the Rusty Wheelbarrow. Thank you so much to NHS, to Woodside on the Move, to Woodside Neighborhood Association, to the Boy Scouts. Y'all were instrumental in making this a success. So we're so happy we're able to have all these volunteers and y'all come out and able to clean up our neighborhoods. We're planning more. So don't be sad. We'll be coming to different parts of the district and really focusing on other areas. We also hosted a Healthcare 101 workshop in partnership with Metro Plus Health, pretty much letting people know about their eligibility and enrollment. This happened this past Monday, so it was really great to engage with residents and letting them know about ways they can get healthcare coverage. We'll be hosting a Nepali Community Day in Albany next week. So if you'd like to come or you know community members who'd be interested, we're having a roundtable in Albany with other elected officials talking about legislative priorities, budget, and ways, the community can get even more involved on the state level and really connecting all parts within our New York State. I'm almost done. And lastly, we'll be hosting, I lied, there's two more things. We'll be hosting a tenant legal clinic on May 8th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at our district office. So please call if you'd like to make an appointment. We will also be hosting a free compost bin event. So more details to come. Right now, we're finalizing the date and the location. So please call our office in the next 2 weeks, and we'll be sure to share with CB2 once we have it finalized and the way you can RSVP for a bin. Any questions? Yes.
Hi, there was an email it came to me, but it probably should have gone to Debbie. So it was about 43rd Street LIRR overpass.
Oh,
And,
with the bird
yeah,
poop?
the bird excrement that someone in your office had worked on.
Yes.
Can you comment on that?
Yeah, thanks for flagging. I'll speak to our team member who sent the email, but I think they just confused who they're supposed to send it to. So I'll speak with them, but pretty much that's the issue that's been happening under the LIR. And pretty much, as I mentioned last meeting, that I've been working with Councilmember Wan's office to get ACE to coordinate to clean up the bird poop. We've also been continuously following up with the MTA for bird netting. Right now, they say that they unfortunately are on pause because they're waiting for their capital plan to be adopted, but they're looking into having that budget be allocated there. And also, the state, unfortunately, our discretionary funding doesn't open until the budget passes. And the state, compared to the city council, has limited funds, but we are trying to work with the state budget and our own office to fund ACE so that we're able to have these areas cleaned proactively in a timely manner. And really grateful for Councilmember Wan's office for helping and partnering with us in order to have ACE, who's contracted with them, go out to that specific area and make sure that area is cleaned.
Tiffany?
Good evening, everyone. Happy May. Happy to be here with you tonight. Just have a lot of updates. I'll try to be quite swift, but Here we are. So happy Women's Health Awareness Month. So let's just jump right into it for federal updates. On March 26th, the Congresswoman reintroduced a resolution recognizing March as Music in Our Schools Month. This resolution aims to strengthen access to music education for students all across the country for public schools. On March 28th, the Congresswoman also signed onto a congressional letter to condemn the elimination of the Institute of Museum and Library Services. It basically emphasized the critical role of libraries and cultural institutions that play a community sport in cultural preservation. Community project funding. So the Congresswoman is actually looking to resubmit her previously chosen community project funding request. From 2025, she's going to roll over the projects from 2025 to 2026 because we did not have a 2025 community project funding roll because Congress basically didn't pass a full budget. They passed over a continuing resolution, and if we do not have a full budget, then we do not have community project funding. So in hopes in October for 2026, new fiscal year, hopefully Congress comes through and passes a full budget. So let's see if our community project fundings go through. So actually, one project that is specific to this area is the stormwater environmental infrastructure for Sunnyside, Woodside, Long Island City, and the Blissville area. This project is not due for another 3 weeks, so we are still in the process of how to cultivate the language to fit the eligible requirements for this community project funding year. So I also want to have a special announcement. Our office is now participating in the Congressional App Challenge. This is the first time that our office is participating in this challenge, so please bear with us. It's something that we're trying out, but we did want to incorporate something educational and new with students because we know what's happening with the Trump administration right now. There's a lot of cuts going on there. So this is something that we could do locally, right, in our districts. To save time, I have a lot of flyers with a lot of your basic questions, 101s, and eligibility. The only thing I will say is that the student has to be in the Congressmember's district. So they're all over there, and I'll be over there for more questions. All right. There's a lot going on with the federal government. It's really hard to cover everything all in just 2 minutes, but I would just say please follow her on her social media. We do have a new staffer right now, so she's been posting a lot of things for what the Congresswoman is doing. There's more videos, there's more flyers. Everything is Nydia Velasquez on her media, so yeah. All right, any comments, questions? All right, thank you so much, guys.
Farah? Yep. And then next is Benjamin.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone's having a great Thursday evening and a great start to the spring weather. So we have some really great news. I know this will make quite a few people happy. So tree pruning started. And as we know, for the past several years, there were some delays in the tree pruning due to things out of Councilmember One's control, like contracting vendors not being available. So this past few weeks, we've worked with the Parks Department to get pruning done in certain areas of the district. We know that it started in Wynwood Gardens and it's working its way up to the rest of the district. So if you have any suggestions on where you need to see trees pruned, please let our office know at district26@council.nyc.gov. We're also aware in the gardens area that several light poles were removed overnight for some reason. And so we reached out to the Department of Transportation for explanation. We haven't heard back from them, so we actually wrote a letter because we understand the significance of needing the lights there for safety. We're also asking for a timeline on when the lights will be back. And so once we get that update back, you'll hear from my colleague Julissa, who's been working on this. Our Communities Resist housing lawyer will be in the office on May 13th and 27th. We still have 3 appointments left for the 27th. And then on May 9th, we're actually hosting an immigration legal services clinic. It will be both in English and Spanish from 11 to 5 p.m. here at Sunnyside Community Services. If you know anybody who is in need of these services, please have them call our office at 718-383-9566. And then I'm working a little bit backwards, but on May 8th, we're holding our tax lien sale clinic with the Department of Finance. So there are several people in the district who have properties who are on tax lien sale. We sent letters to those individuals, and if you know anybody who has a property on a tax lien sale, please let them know about our clinic on the 8th. It is from 1 to 4. We'll be working with Department of Finance to just get everybody the resources they need in order to keep their properties in good standing. On May 7th, we will have an introductory webinar on our Veterans Services Clinic. We'll be having a once-a-month veterinary services clinic for veterans who live in the district. And the meeting on May 7th is an introductory on what the Veterans Services Unit of City Council will be doing with our office. And then lastly, yesterday, Councilmember 1 co-chaired a hearing on nonprofit payment delays along with Councilmember Althea Stevens. Since Councilmember 1's first hearing on nonprofit payment delays in 2022, contract payment delays have gotten worse, reaching over $1 billion in outstanding payments. This package of legislation pushes for more urgency in the contracting process by providing advanced payments for nonprofits, requiring corrective action plans for a retroactive contract registration, and establishing a new Department of Contract Services. This package is important because if the city continues delaying payments, nonprofits will continue to go into debt, and employees will not get paid on time, resulting in critical services to New Yorkers being delayed. And so we're hoping to see a lot more changes with this. And, we saw our very own nonprofits within the district, such as Sunnyside Community Services, Reese, Woodside on the Move, there yesterday. And so we're hoping this brings about a lot of positive change for the nonprofits in our district. And that's it. Does anyone have any questions?
Hi. So I'm sure your office might be aware of this already, but yesterday, well, let me backtrack. A month ago, was it a month ago? The 108 was here, and I raised the issue of lots of cars speeding through 48, Barnett, 39th Avenue. And so yesterday, fortunately, a student got run over in front of IS 429. And so the school is taking measures to make sure that students are safe. But this happens after school, and I just want to elevate that to your office so that there's like actual follow-up, because this happened. I raised the issue a month ago. This happened literally yesterday, and we just need to make sure that the kids are safe.
Yeah. This is actually the first time I'm hearing of it, so thank you for sharing that. What we can do, I'll have our staff follow up with NYPD, but today we actually, another constituent had reached out due to drag racing and speeding on that stretch of Barnett Avenue between 42nd and 39th. Between 42nd and 48th. And so we requested speed studies to be done there, as well as street safety measures, such as either putting in a speed reducer or stop signs or stop lights. And so we actually put those in today because of that flag that a constituent shared with us yesterday. And so once we get the results of that study, I can share that out with everyone.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sorry. Thank you. I'm going to make this kind of long-winded, so it's not directed per se at the council member's office, it's kind of at all the electeds. I read an article yesterday evening from Sunnyside Post, and it made mention of a new company that's operating in Blissville called Echo Materials Technology, and it's operating on the rail infrastructure, which is the New York and Atlantic Railway. What they say, according to the site, that they plan to distribute 50,000 tons of harvested fly ash from its national network to support local infrastructure projects. Now, when I look up on the EPA site, I see that fly ash is a byproduct of coal ash. EPA continues to say that it contains contaminants like mercury and arsenic. Without proper management, these contaminants will pollute waterway, groundwater, drinking water, and the air. Eco Material says that this material will come from their landfill harvesting sites. Now, I have a lot of concerns regarding this being put into concrete. So I have a number of questions. Again, it's not directed at you per se, it's for all the electeds. One, what, if any, city or state agencies oversee such operations? Are there existing regulations for handling coal and fly ash? What safety measures are in place at Eco Material to protect workers, community, and the environment? What are their protocols? Most importantly, what scientific research is available on the environmental and health impacts when using this byproduct in concrete? So for example, we're about to roll out the City of Yes, and in particular, the One LSC project. Now, I would not be surprised that this material is going to be used in concrete to build such structures. So do we know when that sun hits that concrete, what that will do to our health? What happens over 30, 40 years when we grind up that concrete? What health impacts is that going to have on us? Then we're using concrete along the shorelines. After a while, those shorelines start eroding. What impact is that going to have on our waterway? So I want you to keep that in mind. Similar type of products like asbestos was touted many years ago as the new insulation. They used it to build buildings. Then we find out years later that it causes cancer. So I would encourage community board, the environmental committee, the electeds to reach out. I'm all for it, to reach out to this company and to come before the board and answer some of our questions, because it's going to have a great impact, not just for myself, but for future generations and businesses that will operate here. Yeah. Thank you for your time.
No, and thank you for sharing that. We can, if you could send those questions, that would be great, just because I don't have the answers for that right now. I think only DP is the only answer that I have, which is for the first question.
I just want to put it on record.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Welcome. Hi, Maury.
Hey, Farah. I just want to take a second to thank your team and the council member for sponsoring or co-sponsoring the amendments to the Post Act, which did get passed. For my colleagues that weren't aware of it, this was all about NYPD surveillance of our residents and oversight to make sure they're releasing what kind of technology, what kind of problems they have with the new technology, who they're surveilling, et cetera. And there were loopholes in the original act, and these tighten up those loopholes, and we're grateful. I'm grateful, and I think a lot of our community members are grateful that there's some accountability now, or more accountability for the NYPD and other agencies that might want to use surveillance technology on our citizens.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. I'll definitely share that back to the team.
Hey, Farah.
Hi.
Thank you for and council member for the groundbreaking on Lieutenant Davidson Park. Very exciting to have another park breaking ground. Wanted to know if you've been able to talk to parks about a location on the South Sunnyside, Blissville area.
Right. So when we last reached out to parks, they said that there's the original sites that everyone had submitted, I guess, didn't specific zoning for parkland, and so now they're doing their own survey, to my understanding, of seeing what fits into parkland.
Great. I saw there was another in the social media, another call for suggesting locations.
Yeah.
I guess in those, can there be more specific information of the requirements needed, so people aren't just like blankly suggesting?
Yeah. Like a random.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely ask our comms director to elaborate on that.
Great.
Thank you. All right, great. Thank you.
Please follow up with her offline. Q&A is for board members. Next is Benjamin from Assemblymember Mamdani's office. Rare occurrence. Oh, and then Claire.
Hello, everyone. Happy May Day. It's very nice to be here with you all for my first CB2 meeting from Assemblymember Mamdani's office. I'm his district office communications director, Benjamin. Pleasure to see you all for the first time. And thank you for having our office. To start, I want to share a brief legislative update that was just shared moments ago. Budget negotiations are still ongoing in the Assembly, and an extender was passed until May 7th today. Assemblymember Mamdani is continuing to fight in Albany for the best budget that is essentially responsible to the needs of historians and those in Long Island City in CB2, addressing the cost of living and fully funding education and transportation for all New Yorkers. As a general reminder, the Queens Budget Network redesign has officially entered its implementation phase. And Phase 1 routes will begin on June 29th, 2025, and Phase 2 routes will begin on August 31st, 2025, this summer. You can view how the routes will change and how your commute will change at mta.info/project/Queens-bus-network-redesign. It's a long URL. And lastly, we wanted to highlight a new tax service available for Queens residents at Queens Legal Services. Queens Legal Services offers free and confidential legal services for those having disputes with the IRS, or New York State tax issues. For help, you can call their access line at 917-661-4500 Monday through Friday, 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Thank you and have a nice evening. Open to any questions. Yes.
Hello. Thank you for being here. I may be one of the only board members in 6, so thank you. As you likely know, there is a massive rezoning happening in Long Island City. Will the Assembly member have a strong point of view and make that clear at the hearing or whenever is appropriate to the community?
Thank you for that question. I, at the moment, can't comment on that, but if you take a card of mine and email me, I can let you know at a further time. Thank you. Okay, thank you.
And welcome to your first CB2 update. Claire, then from DA Katz's office. There you are, if you want to wait here.
Hello. Hey guys, my name's Claire. Sorry, I'm congested. I'm allergic to pollen. I'm the CB2 liaison from the Office of Borough President Donovan Richards. Okay, on Saturday, May 10th, from 12 to 2 at Culture Lab, right by here in LIC, we're having a Mother's Day mini wellness retreat. So, yeah, and then May 15th, 5 p.m., we're hosting our API Heritage Month celebration at Queensborough Hall. And then on Tuesday, May 20th at 6 p.m., we're hosting our Jewish Heritage celebration at Queensborough Hall. Thursday, May 22nd at 6 p.m., we're hosting our Guyanese Independence Day celebration at Queensborough Hall. And then on Tuesday, June 3rd at noon, it's going to be our Pride Month kickoff and flag raising ceremony at Borough Hall. And then on June 11th at 6 p.m. is our annual Pride Month celebration. And yeah, all of our events are at queensbp.nyc.gov. No questions? Cool, thanks.
Hello, everyone. My name is Narissa Martinez. I am a community coordinator at the Queens District Attorney Melinda Katz's office. I will be attending these meetings as well as the 108 Precinct Council meetings as well. So I hope to become a familiar face in the community. Just to start off with some community updates, on April 15th, our office announced the indictment of 9 individuals who were charged with selling and possessing controlled substances following a 17-month-long investigation into a drug peddling operation centered on 95th and Jackson Heights. Undercover investigators made 40 buys of cocaine, crack, and fentanyl with a street value of more than $12,000. The transactions took place in plain view, and in one case are alleged to have involved a child who accepted money for fentanyl to be provided to the undercover officer. 7 of the defendants were apprehended following the execution of court-authorized arrest warrants and arraigned on a 142-count indictment charging them with criminal sale of a controlled substance and criminal possession of a controlled substance. One defendant was additionally charged with the use of a child to commit a controlled substance offense. Additionally, you may have seen news coverage of another illegal cannabis dispensary bust. The DA's office, responding to community complaints, commenced an investigation into a mobile marijuana store. Undercover investigations visited the van that had been parked on Woodhaven Boulevard, just under the Long Island Expressway in Rego Park, and bought cannabis in various forms from the people allegedly operating the mobile unit. A court-authorized search warrant was executed, and law enforcement seized 4 pounds of leafy cannabis, a pound of concentrated cannabis, along with edibles packaged in brightly colored wrappings to resemble candy. 3 people are accused of operating this van, which was parked near a school and across the street from a popular playground and park. If any of you suspect a brick-and-mortar store or a mobile shop is an illegal marijuana dispensary, please reach out to our office. Lastly, I have some flyers that are going to be found in the back table here, for one being our Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month celebration. That's going to be on Tuesday, May 13th, beginning at 5:30 at Queens College, as well as our Memorial Day observance ceremony, which is going to be held on Thursday, May 22nd at 11 a.m. at the Vietnam Veterans Memorial in Elmhurst Park. Thank you so much. I'm open to any questions or concerns.
I could probably Google this, but how do you know a storefront is selling illegal cannabis?
So usually, right, well, what I've been seeing and what our office has been seeing lately is a New York State emblem that's right outside the front window. That means that they're obviously licensed by New York State. If they don't have that and they have just what seems to be a smoke shop, nothing saying dispensary, then it could be possible that they're an illegal shop. But that's definitely flyer and paper materials that we have at the office, and I can bring to the next month's meeting. So we'll have a little bit more information to disperse on that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? Thank you so much. Thanks.
Thank you and welcome. And Siobhan from our partner here at SCS.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Siobhan Novoa with Sunnyside Community Services. Happy to be here and see everyone this evening. So first, I wanted to invite everyone here to join us for a community cleanup we'll be having on May 5th. Everyone's welcome to join us. It starts at 4 p.m. And if you'd like, you can email us at volunteering@scsny.org or follow our socials at SCS4NY for updates on that. We also wanted to invite everyone to an annual spring community health fair our youth programs are hosting on Saturday, May 17th from 11 to 2 a.m. There'll be lots of giveaways, snacks, activities, so you're all welcome to join us for that. And lastly, wanted folks to fill out a survey. One of our directors is a fellow with Urban Design Forum, and they're doing a inquest here for Community Board 2 on older adults. They wanted to focus on understanding home accessibility, safe spaces, community resources, trying to figure out ways to make this part of Sunnyside a better place to live for older adults. You can find flyers for the survey, flyers for the community fair at the back table, and thanks for having me.
Oh, are you good, Lisa?
Hi, Lisa. The survey is electronic. You can scan a QR code in the back. And for information on the health fair as well as the community cleanup, you can log on to our socials, and that way you can access information. Thank you.
My bad, I forgot Megan Yuan from the Community Affairs unit of the Mayor's Office. Would you like to give an update, Megan?
Sure, yeah, sure. I will be very quick, be mindful of the time. Good evening, everybody. So New York City will be hiring 3,700 new teachers in the school year 2025 to 2026 this school year to help reduce the class size. And also, Mayor announced this after school for all. So after school for all with the total annual investment gonna be 755 million once fully purchasing. So we'll be fund a total of all the after school program. And then Mayor and the NYPD commissioner, they launched this new unit. It's called NYPD New Quality of Life Divisions. This is citywide quality of divisions. The goal is to focus on enhancing the trust between the communities and the police while addressing the everyday issues. So that's all I got. Thank you, everyone.
Any questions? Okay, sorry, one question.
Hi, Megan. Thank you for the update. I'm wondering if you can let us know when the mayor is going to permit the Queensboro Bridge walkway to open as was originally planned.
Thank you for the questions. Yes, I will follow up with the office, and once I have the update, I will email the chairs and our district manager. But thank you for the questions.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Megan. And I think that wraps it for our representatives electeds and community partners. I'm going to move right along to public comment. Most people have signed up online. If you're in the room, if you want to make a comment, please sign up on the green sheet over there. If you want to, those of you who've said you want to make a comment about the One LIC rezoning plan, I'm going to call on you after that presentation. So if you've said general public comment, please mute yourself if you didn't mean to unmute yourself. Alrighty, for general public comment, Fran Queso, you have 2 minutes. We jump the timer. Yeah. Fran, you can unmute yourself.
Hello?
Yep.
Okay, great. Thank you. As a local resident, I'm talking about the proposed MTA Queens bus redesign. As a local resident and frequent bus user, I am gravely concerned about the change that is involving eliminating a vital bus stop in front of St. Sebastian Church on 58th Street and Roosevelt Avenue here in Woodside. This stop is not just a mere location, but a lifeline for many community members, including the elderly and the disabled individuals. For some among us, like myself, who rely on walking aids such as canes due to physical injuries, this bus stop is a necessary provision that allows us to participate in mass social events and that contributes to our overall quality of life. They are currently proposed an alternative stop at Skillman and Roosevelt Avenue, which is really a 2.5 block walk up a very steep hill, a physical challenge that is simply impossible for many due to their health conditions or disability. It is essential for urban planning to maintain an inclusive, accessible city for all, and this should apply to our local bus network as well. We urge the MTA to reconsider this proposed change and to ensure that the bus stop in front of St. Sebastian Church remains in place so that we can continue going to church and going about everyday business. It's not just about routes, it's about people's lives. And I also may add to this that there is a parochial school, elementary school, St. Sebastian Academy, from pre-K through through 8th grade. There's also a medical center on 58th Street between Woodside and Roosevelt Avenue, and a public school down on 58th Street and 39th Avenue. So it's a very busy intersection. So this is why we are against having this bus stop removed. Thank you.
Got it. Thank you, Fran. Thank you. Okay, next. Is it Tiloma? Oh. Okay, so save it, please. Yeah. Roger Hart.
Okay. Yes, I would like to comment on. I'd like to comment on the inappropriateness of play in the court square plaza after the removal of the fountain. It's my work as director of the Center for Human Environments and Children's Environments Research Group for 40 years at the Graduate Center. Most of the work being about the design and planning of play environments tells me that that is totally inappropriate place. My house is just 1 block away from the statue, so I know the situation very well. I've lived here 40 years. It's not a good place for many reasons. First of all, traffic. To have any play environment right next to a busy traffic space makes no sense whatsoever. The formal design of the space is totally opposite to what children seek, which is informal, diverse physical environment, ideally loose parts, and ideally with a natural environment, wild quality to it. So on top of all of that, we already have Murray Playground only 1 block away, and park, which is excellent. And so there is no rationale whatsoever for Court Square to be a play environment for children.
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions? No, sorry. Thank you for that comment. Stephanie Hodge.
Thank you, everybody. Well, beyond what Roger is saying, can you hear me?
Yep.
Can you? Okay. So beyond what Roger is saying about the fundamentals of play and playgrounds, my husband is the architect, George. He's also on the call, and we're longtime residents here. Okay, we've been here Monty's been here since 1982, and we've watched this environment change, and quite frankly, to take down the last historic places, especially a significant one, like the fountain in front of Courthouse Square, would be a travesty in terms of our history, in terms of our culture, in terms of what you could do with good design. So quite frankly, my comment is about your design and your design process. I don't recall things going up on our trees to let us know that there was a public consultation on the design. So, it was during COVID. So, we're just trying to rectify that now. Basically, Landmarks went ahead and approved this to take down the fountain. The fountain is like 100-year-old landmark. We don't have many left. We got a lot of adaptive reuse buildings in the area that are great, and I hope they speak for themselves, and I hope Landmarks puts plaques on them from the history. But to take down that fountain and to do what Roger said, just put up a playground without really thinking about the cultural significance and also the touristic potential for income based on people that want to come here and not see a sanitized LIC. We have basically watched LIC become sanitized in the last 10 years, probably because the elders like us have not been involved. And I just want to recognize all of you young people for taking charge, and the fact that we're all oldies coming in now today on these issues is probably a good thing as well. But I hope that we can come to some agreement that that fountain and that idea of a playground can be redesigned regardless of plans being put in place. I know budgets have been approved, but I can tell you they can change. And we are very interested from both a technical and a residency perspective to see that we do the right thing in terms of Courthouse Square playground. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Stephanie. And next, Christiane, are you on? The last name starts with P. Nope. Okay, we'll come back to you. Is it the other heart from the other room? Okay.
Yes,
You have 2 minutes.
exactly. That's the other. Yes, thank you so much. This is my first time in the community board, and I cannot believe that how much you guys are doing and how detailed your work is. So I really appreciate. But today I'm just a second.
Yeah, we lost.
No.
We lost her. Oh, you're here? Okay, great.
So I am here today to ask your decision to renew it or to look after this beautiful fountain in the Court Square Park. So you guys made a decision in 2019, 2020, and we really didn't know what is going on. Now in my street, next to street, I'm talking to my neighbors. There is nobody know that this fountain is being removed. The community, they are saying to us, community board made this decision in 2019, 2020. Now they are renovating. Everybody has an idea of renovation, but they are removing this beautiful historical artifact. We are not against the playground. We are not against the park, and we appreciate this is happening as a beautiful, and when it is finished, it's going to be a really beautiful park. But we want to keep this fountain. It cannot be, if they don't want to, they cannot use as a fountain. They can be used as a plant pot. But it is a beautiful, beautiful fountain. And I am here today to ask your help. What can we do? And you're young people, you know, and just please, is there a way to deal with it? Is there a way to go for this decision and re-decide about this? What can we do? Because there is nothing right now in Long Island City from 1908 or anywhere in Sunnyside or anything, historical piece like that. I'm so happy as a documentary filmmaker and the 25 years of the resident of this area, so happy to see that fountain looking like 50 years ago, people were sitting there and looking at it. And I'm very happy if my children and the people 50 years later that will be watching that historical artifact. So please help us. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Hart Household.
We have a question.
Yeah, one question. Yeah, please stay on. You have a question.
I just wanted to make a comment to the last three speakers about this playground issue or the potential.
I think we have a few more.
demolition of this fountain. I thank you for your comments and bringing it to our attention. It does sound like a decision that went a little bit under the radar during the pandemic, but I also really want to urge you to stay involved in the next couple of months discussion about Long Island City, because this board is very aware of the lack of public space in Long Island City and the growing population and the multitude of needs of this growing population for different types of open space. So I think there's a real need for folks like yourselves, as well as younger families and everybody, to really have a deeper conversation about what the community needs and make that a part of the One LIC process. Thank you.
Lisa, we have three more speakers about this park. Do you want to come up?
Yeah, can I just say?
Yeah, go ahead.
The community board has had many complaints about the fountain being removed, and the Parks Department told Land Use Committee that it was not a landmarked fountain. And so we've been going back and forth with them since 2019, maybe, and they said it's not a landmark fountain. And so it's not a playground, it's passive recreation. There'll be no play equipment in that area. But I just want you to know, we had talked about this a long time ago, and now they're just getting to doing the construction. So, you know, that's it.
Camille? And also I should add that CB2, we sent all of the correspondence we were able to find from 2020 over to Parks and our council member. So they've been reminded of the proceedings.
Yeah, I'm curious as to what else you all are doing in support of this issue. Are you going to the press? Are you looking for other opportunities? Because I think, as has been shared, this forum has not been able to persuade the Parks Department at all as it relates to that fountain. It's come up in the intervening 5 years since it was approved multiple times. We shared the concerns of people on this board. I definitely raised concerns. I wasn't part of the board when it was approved. But in the years since, you know, that the demographics of the neighborhood have changed dramatically since the overall design was approved, and they have given no quarter and no willingness to reconsider things. So definitely recommend that you know, think outside the box as it relates to this issue, and, you know, think about ways to raise the concerns of the community in other forums.
Hodges, do you want to take that?
Yeah, oh, Hodges, I'm Hodge. But listen, Monty wants to speak. He's also a long-term resident.
Yep. George, if you could please hang on. I have Agatha next.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes, I wanted to add to the previous comment. First of all, my name is Agata Bojarewicz. I am Long Island City resident, and I'm here on behalf of Long Island City residents to express the concern about the fountain removal. I know that it's not a landmark. Surprisingly, we have a photo of the fountain dated 1924, 1934, possibly even as far back as 1904. An entire block is considered a landmark. So I reach out to Landmark Preservation Commission to ask for reviewing the design again and reconsider the fountain as a landmark. Again, it's also important to note that we were not aware that you guys planning to remove that fountain. We knew about the remodelization of the park. However, nobody thought that such a beautiful, old and historic fountain would be removed. So I'm just adding to the previous comment that please stop the renovation or removal of that fountain and reconsider the design. Also, I'm a professional engineer, and I cannot believe how come the board 6 or 5 years ago approved that design. I'm really disappointed, and I'm sorry. Maybe I was not aware or around that decision, but still, please reconsider and fix what could be fixed so we preserve that beautiful landmark. Thank you.
Thank you, Agatha. Dini? Do I have that right? we'll come back to you. Alexandra Roland? Can't hear you yet.
Hello, everyone.
There you go.
Sorry, thank you so much. I appreciate you taking and giving me the opportunity to speak. I'm going to also speak with my colleague, residential neighbors about the shock of hearing that the fountain would be removed. Obviously, we're all very much concerned and we're taken a bit by surprise. Obviously, this was a decision, and we're not here to undermine the decision that was made during COVID and the fact that we were not aware of it. Also working as an interior designer and with architects, just as Department of Buildings post, I was very shocked that the Department of Parks had not posted, as they do originally, a giant sign on the property explaining, what some of the decisions had been made. I find the design to be not fully thought out through. I feel that the design lacks in any interest to support the historical details of the courthouse. I feel that removing the granite stone, which is mimicking some of the brick stone facade of the courthouse, will now be replaced with concrete flooring amidst the grass that is proposed. I also think from a designer standpoint, putting a few sprinklers in front of the courthouse with absolutely no containment whatsoever doesn't speak to the design. I think supporting a little bit what Roger Hart was saying before, if children will be there, which they are a lot, the children like to go around on the granite and sort of circle around the fountain as if they're enjoying themselves. I will also add, and this might not have been put into consideration during COVID, we have an enormous amount of families that also have dogs, and the two areas on the sides have been used as dog parks. So I think once you mesh children and dogs and an environment where there's seating, I think there has to be some sort of allocation of placement on how this entire park unfolds. And what does it mean? Is it a seating area around the fountain so you can relax and see the courthouse and enjoy the historical standards that need to be kept in Long Island City and supported as the enormous gentrification and with absolutely no architectural standard or looking at these giant glass buildings, which, by the way, I'm sure the Audubon Society, if they were here, would have something to say, because the amount of birds that crash into all these glass buildings during the South migration is appalling. So I think we're okay. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, please.
And I hope you will have time to review and propose something with and we are more than welcome to be a part of it.
Great, thank you so much. George, to close us out about this topic.
Yes, as a long-term Long Island City resident, I think that the fountain has a historical significance for the park, and opening it as just a grass area is not enough to justify its landmark status.
Great. Thank you so much. Well under your 2 minutes, so appreciate that. I think Taloma, I don't know if you're back. Oh, about 1 LIC, sorry. And Christiane? No. All right, so we will close general public comment here. Thank you so much. And we're going to give ourselves a hand for being 5 minutes ahead of schedule for the 1 LIC presentation. So we'll move along to the Intro to LIC Neighborhood Plan.
quick transition. Yes, please do that.
Can you hold the Zoom on here? It's a new agenda.
Nope, you gotta do this.
Okay.
Okay, just
I'll do.
pause. 5 minutes.
Okay. All right, I will log on to it in a second. Hello, everybody. So Hye-kyung is going to give a presentation on the LIC plan tonight, but quickly before she does, I just want to let you guys know that there is an upcoming event related to the last mile facility special permit. So DCP is proposing zoning changes to establish a CPC special permit for new last mile facilities. So if this is approved, the facilities must undergo a substantial review process to ensure that the facility won't conflict with the surrounding area before the facility is built. So this would regulate warehouses where there are a lot of packages that are quickly sorted before being sent to their final destination. So these are generally located really close to residential areas. The special permit is now moving through the environmental review process, and there's a virtual scoping meeting that will be held next Tuesday, May 6th at 2 p.m., and we will be accepting written comments until May 16th. There was an informational meeting held last week, and if you were unable to attend this, we did record it, and I do have that recording for you all. So I have an email drafted to Debbie that has the link to the information page, the informational session video, and the registration link for scoping, and also the email for comments. So I will be sending that to her soon, and that will go out to all of you all. So I just wanted to let you know about that before jumping into the presentation. Thank you. Can you take that?
Hi. Okay, we're gonna load up the presentation. Just in case.
Oh, okay.
In case. Okay. Technical difficulties, yes. Katie.
Yeah, yeah.
Great, okay. Good evening, Community Board 2 and members of the public. My name is Hye-kyung Yang, and today I'll be representing the Long Island City Neighborhood Plan. I'm joined by our Queens Director, Lynn Zhang, our 2 Community Board 2 liaisons, and borough planners, Katie Crawford and Fagla Lechner, and online, Lara Marita, Senior Director of Community Planning. Okay, so over the course of many months, my team and I have heard your initial comments and concerns about this plan, and tonight I'll be presenting the proposal as a kickoff to your review. Next slide. The city is proposing a series of land use actions across a 54-block area in Western Queens to support and facilitate the implementation of goals and objectives of One LIC, a neighborhood plan that is subject of a community planning process to help define and implement a long-term vision for Long Island City. The plan's goals and strategies respond to the city's housing needs and capture the opportunities of this unique, transit-rich, and cultural vibrant neighborhood. The plan's goals also represent the specific feedback and comments we have gathered from community members, local organizations, and stakeholders, including our elected officials during our 18-month-long public engagement process, period. Approval of the one LIC plan would mean adding more homes in the area, including more affordable homes. It would create more opportunities for jobs across existing and growing communities, and it would bring improvements to public areas and the necessary infrastructure investments to support a successful, thriving, resilient mixed neighborhood. Next slide. As proposed, One LIC is projected to create close to 14,700 new homes, of which approximately 4,300 would be permanently income restricted and rent regulated. The plan would also create nearly 3.5 million square feet of new commercial and community facility floor area, and permitting the space that would support approximately 14,400 new jobs. All of this is to develop in an area that has numerous transit options that provide access to essential services and employment opportunities. Next slide. So we'll start with an overview of the proposed actions and introduce the project area. Then we'll go over neighborhood contacts and existing conditions, and then we'll share a summary of our engagement efforts and then dive into the details of this proposal. Next slide. Through the Long Island City Draft Neighborhood Plan, the city is seeking the following land use actions: to encourage housing growth while requiring permanently affordable housing served by public transit, enliven corridors with active ground floor uses and streetscape improvements, and incentivize job growth in the neighborhood. We're proposing zoning map and zoning text amendments to support the area's growth while being an affordable place to live for both current and future residents by applying mandatory inclusionary housing, MIH, to the project area and expanding opportunities for waterfront open space. The proposed actions also include modifying the existing special Long Island City mixed-use district to create more opportunities for housing, community facility, and manufacturing spaces to support the neighborhood's growth. As co-applicants to this application, HPD is seeking an Urban Development Action Area Plan project, UDAP, and disposition approval to redevelop and improve city-owned land with income-restricted housing. With co-applicants DCAS and EDC, we're seeking approval for acquisition, site selection, and disposition of non-residential city-owned property. And lastly, we're proposing city map amendments to demap existing paper streets, adjust the widths of other streets, and map a new public loop road. Next slide, please. LIC's waterfront location made it a prime destination for industrial businesses in the early 20th century. By the 1950s, Long Island City had become a manufacturing powerhouse. But by the 1970s, the neighborhood began to experience widespread vacancies in its industrial buildings, leading to job losses and a shrinking residential population. Today, you'll notice new development beginning to rise, while much of the surrounding area retains its original manufacturing scale. The neighborhood's close proximity to Manhattan and transit access has attracted many new residents. Next slide. In the early 1990s, the Department of City Planning identified central Long Island City as growth areas with significant potential for office, retail, and residential development, and the CPC adopted the Long Island City Framework for Development in 1995. A few years later, the Northern Hunters Point Waterfront Access Plan was adopted in 1997, marking the first of its kind in the city. In 2001, special Long Island City rezoning and 2004 Hunters Point subdistrict rezoning further implemented the 1995 plan. And in 2006, to strengthen the city's industrial areas, an industrial business zone, or IBZ, designation was applied to the neighborhood. Over the past decade, the neighborhood has been subject to several developer-led planning processes, all of which were withdrawn prior to public review. Next slide. So now we're going to cover some existing conditions. Next slide. The One LIC project area, outlined in the dashed black line, is primarily industrial, which is indicated by the purple on the map. There are a mix of residential and commercial uses around the periphery of the project area. While the surrounding context area is home to a wider mix of uses, to the north, this includes Queensbridge houses, a medium-density public housing campus, and a mix of audio-related uses. While south of the project area is home to Gantry Plaza State Park, surrounded by residential and commercial uses at a variety of densities. East of the project area is Court Square, which is home to a mix of commercial and high-density residential uses. Next slide. Long Island City features some of the highest levels of transit accessibility in Queens. The wider context area is served by 8 subway lines, 15 bus lines, 2 Long Island Railroad stations, ferry service, and nearly 20 miles of bike lanes. Next slide. The LIC context area is home to large waterfront open spaces like Queensbridge Park and Gantry Plaza State Park, while Murray Playground, small triangles, and pocket parks serve the inland area. Given the area industrial legacy, there are a few parks within the project area, but Gordon Triangle and 12th Street Plaza are well used by the community, and the LIC waterfront pier serves as the only waterfront public access point to the East River. Next slide. The project area is broken down by 4 sub-districts: the waterfront, corridors, LIC Core and Queens Plaza, and the industrial sub-area. The waterfront sub-area includes Annabelle Basin, city-owned sites on 44th Drive, and all areas west of Vernon Boulevard. Today, the waterfront is largely underdeveloped. Next, the corridors sub-area focuses primarily on 44th Drive and areas east of Vernon. This area is characterized by residential and mixed-use development. The industrial sub-area includes all areas subject to LIC's IBZ and primarily feature industrial buildings without a residential use. And the LIC Core and Queens Plaza sub-area is adjacent to high-density development in Court Square. Next slide. Long Island City's context area has seen a significant increase in residential development and an almost 100% population increase to go with it. Recent development has been concentrated around Court Square and Hunters Point South, including this mixed-use building pictured here, which is located on Crescent Street and 42nd Road. Next slide. Today, much of the project area is zoned with manufacturing districts, with mixed use and residential districts zoned along the waterfront, Queens Plaza, and 44th Drive areas. Despite Long Island City's many strengths and assets, today's zoning is outdated and presents key challenges, such that there are no requirements for affordable housing. Low FARs limit growth potential for existing businesses, and unlike in other parts of the city, high-density districts are not eligible for plaza bonuses. Next slide. The One LIC study area encompasses the LIC Industrial Business Zone. Industrial business zones were established in 2006. They were created to support industrial and manufacturing businesses by providing a relocation tax credit to those choosing to move into IBZs. To create more certainty for these businesses, the tax credit was paired with commitment by the city to not permit residential development in these areas. Industrial businesses have historically provided a majority of jobs in both the project and context areas. Over the last decade, this dynamic has reversed, with employment in both areas concentrated in non-industrial sectors, which include office, local service, and institutional jobs. The project area shows declining employment across all sectors, while employment in the wider context area is increasing. However, this growth is coming from non-industrial sectors. The Woodworks building, located on 44th Drive, demonstrates a shift from predominantly industrial use to a more commercial or mixed-use building. Where a single-story manufacturing building once stood, we now see a full-block mixed-use industrial and office development that caters to more neighborhood-serving uses, such as interior designers, sports clubs, and contractors. Next slide. The Northern Hunters Point Waterfront Access Plan covers the project area's waterfront properties, including those along the East River and Annabelle Basin. The first of its kind in city's history, the WEP was adopted in 1997 to set forth context-specific waterfront zoning requirements for the conditions along the stretch of waterfront. The existing WEP includes requirements for each waterfront parcel to provide public access to and along the shoreline. The public access requirements are triggered when a parcel proposes a new development, enlargement, or change to predominantly residential and/or commercial use. The existing WAP is based on a vision from the 90s and is not in line with the current design standards and climate risks. To date, this WAP has not generated any new built public open space in LIC. Next slide. Okay, so now I'll walk through our engagement efforts for this project. Next slide. In the fall of 2023, we kicked off engagement with the city and city council member and WXY to facilitate a robust engagement process. We worked with residents, stakeholders, local businesses, community groups, and elected officials over the course of about 18 months to develop this proposal. Next slide. DCP with Councilmember 1, WXY, and other agency partners held a series of town halls and focus area meetings to learn about resident concerns, answer questions, and share about existing resources. Next slide. Throughout the process, we've engaged with many agencies, especially HPD, Parks, EDC, DEP, and DOT, to align community feedback with ongoing work and to explore options for new city projects, programs, and policies. Next slide. In total, we held 16 public meetings and received over 5,750 comments from 1,800 attendees. In the winter of 2024, the Department of City Planning and Councilmember 1's office each released surveys asking the community to share their vision for city-owned sites. Combined, these surveys gathered 2,350 responses. Next slide. The following goals emerged from over a year of community engagement and conversations with agency partners. Goal 1, create more housing for people at a range of income levels. Goal 2, create a connected, resilient, and accessible waterfront from Gantry Plaza State Park to Queensbridge Park. Goal 3, meet the infrastructure and community needs of a growing neighborhood while mitigating climate impacts. Goal 4, support the diversity and vitality of Long Island City's unique and thriving economy. And Goal 5, make it easier for residents to access neighborhood resources and amenities. The neighborhood plan hopes to achieve these goals through zoning updates, neighborhood investments, and policy changes. Next slide. Now I'll walk through the plan proposal. Next slide. The neighborhood plan aims to reach the 5 community-driven goals through a variety of approaches available within DCP's toolkit. This includes delivering an income-restricted housing, removing zoning barriers to induce economic development opportunities, applying mixed-use zoning throughout the area to capitalize on LIC's transit access, and to maintain an active neighborhood throughout all times of the day. To require that the neighborhood's main corridors, 44th Drive, Vernon Boulevard, 21st Street, and 23rd Street, are safe, welcoming, and provide services to people. To modernize the waterfront open space requirements and expand the neighborhood's open space amenities from Shoreline to Queens Plaza. And finally, to implement a variety of strategies that can elevate neighborhood resiliency. Next slide. The following map includes the proposed zoning districts and a key to guide your understanding of land use and density. In summary, high-density districts are mapped near Court Square, Queens Plaza, and along the waterfront, with lower density in between. The IBZ includes strategies to balance growth and preservation within the core and promote growth along the edges, especially near transit. Now I'll walk through the zoning proposal within each sub-area. We'll begin with the waterfront sub-area. Next slide. And I'll take a little bit of time here because the waterfront is an important part of our proposal. Today, the waterfront is mostly comprised of low to mid-rise buildings that host a variety of manufacturing, auto, utility, and storage uses, a sampling of what you see in this photo here. Just one block beyond these one-story buildings is Annabelle Basin, which has breathtaking views of Midtown Manhattan and 4 Freedom Parks on Roosevelt Island. You wouldn't imagine this while standing here at this intersection today. For decades, existing zoning has limited redevelopment opportunities, maintaining a condition where the public has no access to one of LIC's most notable resources, its lengthy shoreline and sweeping vistas of so many city landmarks. And today, without a good reason to bring the public to the basin waterfront, this stretch of Vernon remains a deterrent for pedestrians and cyclists to safely navigate the area. Next slide. The overarching goal across the waterfront sub-area is to extend LIC's world-class waterfront all the way up to Queensbridge Park, unlocking so many special moments like this one along Annabelle Basin and the East River. New mixed zoning districts throughout portions of the waterfront will encourage redevelopment and develop public benefits such as income-restricted housing, waterfront open space, and neighborhood services such as shops, restaurants, schools, daycare centers, and spaces to celebrate LIC's unique culture. This illustration shows what it might feel like when crossing Vernon Boulevard in the future. Direct access will lead one down to Annabelle Basin, where new waterfront open space would provide an exciting array of activities while celebrating views along the basin and East River. New buildings would be required to meet more stringent codes, and that would inspire a more eco-friendly urban character and improve climate resiliency. The proposed special district sets forth zoning regulations to encourage a built form that integrates new development within LIC's vibrant mixed-use character while balancing with controls that guide building form. Next slide. The proposed special district regulations for waterfront sub-area are driven by the following urban design principles. First, the special district would include provisions to ensure active lower floors by requiring more access points to the waterfront, maintaining a lower base height along Annabelle Basin, requiring that certain building frontages be occupied with active uses and designed to facilitate walkable waterfront experience. The second aim is to maximize sunlight and views throughout the waterfront. This is accompanied by mapping additional visual corridors, strengthening the public street network, and applying building controls for upper portions of the building. The third accounts for the fact that this stretch of waterfront will be seen from many vantage points, up and down Vernon, looking down 44th Drive from Court Square, and even from Manhattan's eastern shoreline. Zoning tools to accomplish a compelling skyline include requirements for tower spacing and staggering, regulations to ensure towers vary in height, and rules that shape the upper floors of towers. Next slide. As noted earlier, today's zoning along the waterfront is mostly M14, which restricts residential uses and limits opportunities for business growth. The proposal would map an M16A R9 district around Annabelle Basin and along the East River, and an M15A R8 district on parcels fronting 44th Drive. Requirements to include income-restricted units would apply to all areas colored in red and orange. Parcels without color, which include the Con Edison site, are not proposed to be rezoned, but are subject to modifications in the waterfront access plan and regulations set forth in the special district to ensure consistency across the waterfront. Next slide. The waterfront sub-area also includes sweeping modifications to the existing waterfront access plan along the mile-long stretch of shoreline shown on this photo. Next slide. Waterfront access plans control the location and design standards for waterfront open space. The components of waterfront open space can include any of the following as shown on the diagram on the left: shore public walkways, visual corridors and uplink connections, and supplemental open space. The map on the right shows how these components are specified across the existing Northern Hunters Point WAP. Our team has studied the unique site conditions and opportunities up and down the stretch of waterfront to formulate a new vision. Next slide. The updated waterfront access regulations stem from these four goals: to establish provisions that improve neighborhood resiliency, to expand LIC's open space amenities, and facilitate a waterfront that has something for everyone; to capitalize on the setting of this unique waterfront by creating a dynamic public realm, and to ensure that the waterfront is highly visible, inviting, and comfortable for people of all ages and backgrounds. Next slide. This vision was applied when assessing various scales. The first examines how to complete the connection from Queensbridge Park to Gantry Plaza Park by using a variety of planning and zoning tools. The second acknowledges there are two very different waterfront conditions: a basin that is intimate and protected from elements versus a more exposed shoreline to the north that fronts a wide East River. We also looked at each site configuration along the waterfront to test how regulations could lead to different site design solutions. The updated waterfront access plan sets forth both parcel-specific requirements and area-wide design standards to realize our vision. We'll begin with parcel-specific regulations. Next slide. So we're going to revisit the map we just saw a few minutes ago to highlight the contrast between the existing northern Hunters Point map requirements and the proposed modifications, which I'll show in the next slide. The existing WAP regulations failed to keep up with the vision of today. Annabelle Basin was clearly not viewed as a unique asset. There are a few moments with an open space that is large enough that could host exciting amenities. There's no plan for future streets, and the regulations don't inspire creative design solutions for different waterfront contexts. Now we can compare it with the proposal. Next slide. So we imagine a waterfront that's highly accessible from Vernon Boulevard and many visual cues along Annabelle Basin to draw folks down to this future community asset. We propose that there is at least 40 feet of open space along the shoreline from Gantry to Queensbridge, but with many moments where open space expands well beyond 40 feet to accommodate new and exciting waterfront amenities. And we look for ways beyond zoning to ensure that the waterfront is a public resource by coordinating street network changes that improve access and visibility. These ideas are captured in the map on the right, within the proposed zoning text, and within the city street map under public review. Next slide. The waterfront access plan proposal also includes area-wide changes to control the design quality of open space. These respond to community feedback that we heard over the past few years, and especially during our waterfront walkshop and workshop this past fall. A few examples include drafting a set of standards that will accommodate a variety of resilient esplanade design, including both incentives and requirements to ensure open spaces are delivered with more amenities, realizing the community's desire for restaurants, culture, and entertainment spaces by facilitating a more seamless connection between waterfront open space and the ground floor of buildings, and strengthening requirements to make sure future open space is accessible to all. So in the following slides, we'll dig into a few of these examples. Next slide. The zoning proposal includes an LIC-specific waterfront open space bonus. We've consistently heard during community engagement that future open space needs to include a variety of activities for people of all ages and backgrounds. While the proposal includes a variety of incentives to encourage active recreation within required waterfront open space, we didn't think that this was enough. The floor area bonus would be available for parcels that decide to expand the footprint of the public open space and include amenities from a menu of options. The proposal includes requirements for this additional open space to ensure design is contiguous with the required waterfront open space. Parcels within M16A R9 design along the waterfront would be eligible to apply for this chair certification. To better understand the implicants of these active recreational bonuses, let's move back down to the ground level. Next slide. This view is looking across Annabelle Basin, showing a lack of public access, an engineered hard shoreline, and a lack of vibrancy along Annabelle Basin, even on a clear, sunny day. Next slide. By encouraging future developments to apply for active recreational bonus, the open space area can be dramatically expanded. One could imagine a variety of destination moments like this along the basin and East River, with new spaces for cultural gathering, play, exercise, relaxation, and simply to look out and enjoy the view. The expanded open space would allow design team to include multiple levels of flood resiliency strategies and new points of access to required open space. Next slide. Large open spaces could also be designed to function differently throughout the day and different times of the year. The scale of open space could help better meet community demand and capture the opportunity to build on LIC's unique cultural offerings. Next slide. Now, moving to coastal resiliency, which is a critical part of our waterfront planning efforts. The resiliency strategy relies on multi-pronged approach, spanning from buildings to open streets and open space in streets. The department updated resiliency provisions in 2021. They encourage buildings to future-proof beyond the standard set by building code, which are already among the most stringent in the country. The waterfront access plan will require shore public walkway to be raised for protection against sea level rise and storm events. And the diagram on the far right includes key street map changes. The portion highlighted in tan will include elevated legal grades, meaning that when these streets are built, they're raised to a higher elevation before they taper back to Vernon. This will improve neighborhood resiliency. Next slide. This illustration shows a sample of what it may look like. It's a cross-section from north of 44th Drive facing towards Annabelle Basin, with East River shoreline on the right side of the sketch. The dashed line across the bottom shows the existing grade. As you can see in the sketch, the grade is raised in a manner that protects the upland, but also preserves strong relationships to the water. We imagine a variety of natural and engineered shoreline treatments to strengthen resiliency. Waterfront open space that is raised beyond sea level projections for the year 2100. A new city street that is elevated, lifting portions of the waterfront sub-area well above future tide flood depths, and making it easier for new businesses to activate the sidewalk and bring people to the waterfront. Next slide. So the last point on our small summary of resiliency strategies, we acknowledge the study area has a large amount of impervious surfaces. With the regulations in place as of 2025, redevelopment will reduce impervious coverage, and I'll explain a few of the reasons why. First, the uniform stormwater rule was recently updated and now requires sites above 20,000 square feet to file stormwater permits. The broad majority of expected redevelopment sites, as per our DIS, would be subject to these new standards. They are highlighted in the teal on the map to the right, which are about 43 of the 67 sites. Second, we have areas along the waterfront with required open space, shown in the bold blue outline. That open space includes planting standards that will reduce impervious coverage. And third, there are areas where we propose an open space bonus. Once again, this area would be subject to planting standards that would lower impervious coverage. We have identified more than half of these projected potential sites. Now, this is just a snapshot of how redevelopment on private sites can reduce the strain on stormwater system. And as part of One LIC, we're also looking for areas within the public realm to advance goals on reducing the impact of inland flooding. So now we're going to shift our focus from the waterfront into a different sub-area, the corridors. Next slide. The corridor sub-area covers the southeast portion within the study area, as shown in the orange on the key map in the bottom left. Two of the neighborhood's main corridors are captured in this photo, 44th Drive and Vernon Boulevard. As part of Gordon Triangle, one of the few green spaces within the study area. Today, this intersection and a large portion of the area in orange on the key map is located in a zoning district that prohibits residential and mixed-use buildings, like those throughout Hunters Point South or further down 44th Drive near Court Square. The underlying zoning has impeded redevelopment and led to public realm that is unwelcoming to pedestrians, cyclists, and public transit users. This type of condition should not exist in an intersection of two main streets, especially where they surround one of the area's only public open spaces. Next slide. The proposed actions would remove this zoning impediment and help realize a new vision for these corridors. By rezoning to a new district that permit residential, there is an ability to grow LIC's housing stock and require income-restricted units throughout this sub-area. Special streetscape regulations would be applied along both corridors to create more inviting experiences for pedestrians, cyclists, and public transit riders. DCP is also working with other agencies to coordinate public realm improvements that enhance safety and mobility up and down these vital corridors and other interventions to improve the public space at this critical node. Next slide, please. Moving further east towards Court Square, this view shows the intersection at 44th Drive and 21st Street. This is a critical intersection where two main corridors meet. There are access stairs to the E and M subway lines, multiple bus stops, and we're a block away from Murray Park Playground, one of the largest inland open spaces in LIC. While residential is permitted along the stretch, the zoning district is now requiring income-restricted units. Next slide. The One LIC vision for this area is to vastly increase connectivity and access to public transit while activating the public realm with redevelopment along 44th Drive. New zoning districts will require income-restricted units and revised streetscape regulations that make 44th Drive feel like a main street. Public realm improvements have potential to facilitate safer access to subway entrances, more accessible bus stops with interventions to improve bus efficiency, enhance bike infrastructure, spaces to improve business operations and traffic flow, and overall a more connected and enjoyable pedestrian experience. There's so many LIC destinations. Next slide. The zoning proposal would increase housing opportunities throughout the area pictured on the map on the right. The higher density as shown here in brown would be concentrated along 44th Drive and as a transition district from the waterfront. Acknowledging the lower density character near Murray Playground and south of the study area, the proposed district in orange and yellow would step down along Vernon Boulevard and further into Hunters Point. MIH is mapped throughout all of the shaded areas on this map to ensure future residential development includes income-restricted units. Next slide. Here is a closer look at the heights and setback controls for each of these M and R districts. Each district has a maximum base height and maximum building height that scales up from 95 feet for mid-block areas east of Vernon to 155 feet along 44th Drive to 215 feet west of Vernon as you move closer to the waterfront. Next slide. Today's industrial areas within the IBZ are a workforce center host to a variety of businesses. While many of them serve citywide needs like office and construction, there has been a growth of businesses that directly serve the LIC neighborhood, such as barbershops, breweries, and sports clubs. In recent years, the creation of the 12th Street Plaza acts as a public realm intervention for workers and neighborhood residents alike. However, today's zoning continues to restrict growth of these businesses, while the public realm conditions can be hostile for pedestrians seeking to access these amenities. Next slide. The proposal for these sub-areas would maintain the same uses allowed in the industrial area while encouraging business growth. Building on the success of 12th Street Plaza, the proposal would apply limited streetscape regulations along key corridors within the sub-area in order to create a safe and engaging public realm. Next slide. The proposal calls for applying a variety of M1A districts, mapping M16A and 8 FAR districts closest to the highest density core of LIC. M15A, a 6.5 FAR district, would be mapped to step down away from the core and relieve constrained street networks. Lastly, the M14A would be mapped to the right size and need of more strongly industrial centers of IBZ and to the north as a step down to the Dutch Kills neighborhood. At the bottom of the slide, you'll see a closer look at what these districts permit. M1A districts encourage loft-like buildings forms with flexible envelopes to address a variety of business needs. The maximum building height ranges from 155 to 245 feet. Next slide. Okay, now we're moving on to the core. Today's LIC core and Queens Plaza area hosts a variety of land uses. Within Queens Plaza, redevelopment in recent decades have delivered on housing production, but underlying zoning did not require affordable housing. There are also no incentives within the existing special district to encourage the creation of open space, leaving the neighborhood without sufficient green space. Other areas, however, are still zoned M1 today and are either vacant or underutilized based on their proximity to transit at the Queensboro Plaza and 21st Street Queensbridge stations. Next slide. The proposal calls for expanding and introducing high-density mixed-use districts, as already mapped directly to the east, while providing income-restricted units. Streetscape regulations would be applied along key corridors in order to create an engaging public realm. An open space bonus would also be introduced to this area for the first time. Next slide. The proposal would map an M16 paired with an R9 and R10 district adjacent to transit stations and existing high-density mixed-use districts near Court Square. The M16 R9 district permits a higher commercial and manufacturing FAR at 15, while the R10 paired districts permit a higher residential FAR but maxes out at 12 across all uses. Areas receiving no change to use or bulk are currently zoned for the proposed districts. Zoning districts south of Queensboro Bridge do not include a height limit similar to the existing districts adjacent to them. This would provide flexibility in the envelope for the delivery of other incentives within the special district. It would also encourage improved building form through encouraging towers instead of bulky, squatter buildings that feel imposing at street level. The M16A R10 district to the north, however, would impose a height limit of 750 feet to address concerns of shadows on the adjacent Queensbridge houses to the west. Next slide. As mentioned before, LIC's open space network is very limited, particularly in the core. As part of the special district, sites larger than 25,000 square feet within the sub-area would be permitted to seek an authorization for a floor area bonus in exchange for providing publicly accessible open space. Proposals would require an application process that includes further environmental review. Next slide. Okay, so through engagement and close coordination with the School Construction Authority, we learned there is a strong need for schools in this area, while finding appropriate sites to host them can be challenging. The limited number of public sites in the study area also requires the city to look towards private land to develop schools. In order to ease school sightings, the special district would create an exemption for floor area used for schools up to 150,000 square feet. This exception would apply across the entire project area. To accommodate bulk relief, the special district would also include an authorization for height up to a maximum of 30 feet. Next slide. The proposed actions also call for a zoning text amendment pursuant to Appendix F to map MIH to portions of the project area shown here in orange. This would result in approximately 4,000 permanently income restricted units in LIC. Next slide. There are also site-based proposals within the related actions. The project area has 3 city-owned sites near the waterfront centered along 44th Drive, 2 sites under the ramps to Edcotch Queensboro Bridge, and lastly, the Con Edison property, while not a city-owned site, is also subject to site-specific actions. Next slide. The 3 sites along 44th Drive was the subject of a public workshop held this winter to better understand the community's vision for this portion of the waterfront. A set of community visions were developed based on feedback from the workshop. First, an active community space with housing, open space, commercial space, and community facilities to serve the needs of existing and future LAC residents. And second, a new waterfront open space that would complete the vision for a continuous public waterfront from Queensbridge Park to Hunters Point South and enhance resiliency to protect the community from flooding. Now that we've introduced the 3 city-owned sites, let's take a closer look at the specific actions proposed for each of them. Next slide. This photo shows the existing structure at 44.59 45th Avenue. And this is approximately 42,500 square feet of the site and is currently used by DOT for storage and operations. The site is subject to the UDAP action. Next slide. To meet the plan's goals of creating more housing for people at a range of income levels, co-applicants HPD is seeking a UDAA designation, UDAP project approval, and disposition of city-owned property to facilitate development of approximately 320 new income-restricted housing units, with potential space for a new community facility, and could include an educational component and/or retail space. Next slide. With co-applicants DCAS, we're seeking disposition of city-owned property at 44-36 Vernon Boulevard and 4-99 44th Drive. These properties are currently occupied by DOE offices that support their citywide operations and an adjoining parking area. Community interest in the transformation of these sites has led to this proposed action. Approval of this action would give the city the ability to redevelop the site with community-serving uses expressed by the public during our engagement process. Following certification, EDC has planned to issue an RFI, or request for information. The request for information would allow respondents to share their concepts to convert all or a portion of the building to other commercial, light industrial, retail, and community-serving uses. Next slide. The lots under the ramps to the Ed Koch Queensboro Bridge are also subject to disposition approval at Block 428, Lot 12, 13, 16, and Block 429, Lot 13, 15, and 29. This disposition action is necessary for city to enter into future agreements with private entities on the adjoining privately owned sites. There are no known projects at this time, but this action would allow the city to maintain control over what development rights are conveyed for the greater need of the city. Project development would occur through a future RFP process where detailed programming requirements such as open space would be outlined in the RFP. Next slide. A majority of waterfront properties include the Con Edison Learning Center facility, which fronts along the East River and is located about 600 feet south of the Queensboro Bridge. Due to its critical role as training facility for the utility company, we do not expect redevelopment on this site in the near future. Regardless, the neighborhood plan strives to reach one of its leading goals to connect the East River waterfront from Gantry Plaza State Park to Queensbridge Park. As co-applicants, DCAS and EDC are seeking acquisition and site selection of part of Block 488, Lot 114, which aligns with nearly 900 feet long waterfront portion of the Con Ed property. Approval of this action would grant the city the ability to require the waterfront portion of this lot in the future, facilitating the continuous connection along the shoreline. Okay, next slide. Almost there. The existing street network along the waterfront does not provide sufficient circulation to align with the proposed actions. For example, 44th Avenue is only 30 feet wide, which is well below city standards, while 44th Drive is excessively wide along the block that it terminates at 100 feet wide. In order to enhance circulation and right-sized streets to create a distinct waterfront, we're proposing a series of changes to city map, including mapping a new loop road connecting 44th Avenue with 45th Avenue with 44th Avenue, demapping streets ends at 44th Drive and 44th Road, widening substandard streets at 45th Avenue, realigning portions of 44th Road, and narrowing portions of 44th Drive in order to create an accessible, intimate, and well-connected public waterfront. Next slide. In addition to land use actions, One LIC also includes various city-led programs and investments to support the increase in density and land use changes. While long-term investment in public realm and infrastructure are being considered, we want to highlight a few existing and ongoing investments, some of which are a response to recent engagement. These new capital projects reflect the city's commitment to a holistic neighborhood plan. For example, DEP is working closely with DCP on a drainage analysis of localized and area-wide sewer planning. Also, as you see on the slide, NYC Parks is currently making additions to Queensbridge Baby Park. This park is located between Queensboro Bridge and Queensbridge Houses, which was previously a maintenance yard and is being turned into community gathering space that includes a lawn, benches, and game tables. Next slide. The School Construction Authority, SCA, has a number of planned investments and ongoing projects in LIC, By academic year 2029, the neighborhood will see 2 new elementary schools with approximately 1,100 new school seats. Next slide. In addition to generating new income-restricted units by applying MIH and the development of new units on city-owned land, we're also seeking to preserve affordability through a range of tenant and homeowner protections through HPD programs. To proactively combat landlord harassment and tenant displacement, the city will launch the Partners in Preservation program in LIC and Sunnyside, which funds local community-based organizations to do tenant organization canvassing and know your rights workshops. Next slide. To retain and stabilize homeowners and support generational wealth building for LIC residents, the city is investing in the Homeowner Help Desk, a one-stop shop for financial and legal counseling around foreclosure prevention, deed theft, and home repairs. The city is also increasing access to Home Fix 2.0, a low or no interest home repair loan program, partnership with local CBOs and elected officials to educate tenants and homeowners about their rights, and available resources will also be offered through training classes and resource fairs. Okay, and next slide. Finally, I'll summarize the findings of the environmental analysis. Next slide. As part of this application, a draft environmental impact statement, or DEIS, was prepared. DCP, acting on behalf of the CPC as lead agency, issued a notice of completion of a DEIS on April 18th, 2025. Where the DEIS does not identify significant adverse impacts, technical areas have been grayed out. Significant adverse impacts are identified for categories shown in green to the right. Mitigation measures are identified in the DIS and will be further refined for final environmental impact statement. Last slide. Next slide. One LLC is an opportunity to re-envision the Long Island City neighborhood from a former industrial hub into a lively mixed-use and inclusive community. Ensuring growth is met with smart planning for infrastructure, sustainability, and climate resiliency. In total, we project one LIC will create approximately 14,700 new homes, with around 4,300 as permanently income-restricted housing. This plan also includes space for roughly 14,400 jobs, while being a catalyst for capital and program-based investments and aligning with City of Yes and citywide and waterfront resiliency programs. Next slide. Oh, that's it. Okay, and with that, I want to thank personally the community board for proactively engaging with us and always being gracious with your time. Thank you. We know this is an important study for you, and the commitment you've brought is to be commended. I look forward to answering your detailed questions during your task force meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Hye-Kyung.
45 minutes.
Yeah, under an hour. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
No worries. Yeah. All right, we do have Q&A from the public, but before we get to that, we have the working group, forming. We have 5 meetings, we have 5 meetings in May alone. So for tonight, let's sleep on this. Let's, if there are any burning questions, after we get, through public comment, I'm going to put 15 minutes on the timer when it's our turn. New members first, then the usual folks, and after 15 minutes, that's it. We have 5 meetings in May coming up about this, plus a joint 3-hour-long hearing on May 21st. So, let's take a breath. There's a lot to ingest, and then we'll get to everything. All right. For public comment, Laura Myers. When it's my turn to speak. Yeah. All right. Laura, Taloma, if you want to just wait up here.
Hi, thank you. Thank you so much. I'm Laura Myers. I'm a Long Island City resident for 10 years. My daughter's a ninth grader at Baccalaureate School for Global Education. I'm here to advocate for BSGE, and yes, I am a soccer mom, and I appreciate all of the time and patience that we're putting to this issue, and to thank CB2 for your committed efforts in this. We also want to thank Council Member Julie Wan for her ongoing and committed support to BSGE. So we're here to advocate in this one-in-a-generation, lifetime opportunity to build infrastructure, which is a committed part of the One LIC plan, to include explicitly citing a school for BSGE. BSGE is a gem in the New York City public schools. It is the only school that offers the International Baccalaureate curriculum, which is a rigorous secondary school curriculum to all its school students who come from primarily District 30, but also pull from Shaker Krishnan's district and Jackson Heights and Elmhurst. It's an incredibly diverse student body. It is not an affluent parent set, and we are in an inadequate building in Astoria. And we would love to be in a better building. We would love to expand seats. We would love to provide opportunities to all of the students who are going to move into this district. This proposal is offering thousands of units of housing, and when I look at what the plan has decided in the process with SCA, there is not enough school space being planned into this proposal. So please, whatever you can do to use your voices in your 5 meetings in May. We'll see you again on May 21st. Thank you so much for these opportunities, and I'll pass it along. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for continuing to pay attention at 8:37. My name is Tiloma Jayasingha. I am born and raised in Woodside, and now I live in Long Island City. I went to PS 11, and now my kids also go to BSGE. And Laura made really compelling points that I don't need to reiterate, but I would really love it if the community board could keep in mind the need for more space for a high school 7th grade to 12th grade program in our area, right? We have to send our kids further away. We have space. Don't get distracted by the beautiful waterfront. Like, we need seats for our students. Do you all remember what happened when all of us moved into Long Island City and PS 78 didn't have enough seats and the parents agitated, and then we got more schools? So the younger kids are sorted, but for the older ones, what BSGE gives is amazing education. It's top ranked. We should keep it in our neighborhoods. And I'm hoping that you could use your power and your connectedness to the electeds to keep us in mind and make sure that we can have enough of a space for our school, not a floor in a building, but more than what I think is being proposed. And that way we can expand more seats and have more opportunity to our growing neighborhood, to our people in our neighborhoods, like from LIC all the way to the end of this community board's district. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your patience. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Shira. I'm also a BSGE parent and longtime LIC resident. I think almost my 14-year anniversary. As a mother of 3 kids, one who's in high school at BSGE and one in elementary school and middle school, I feel acutely the dearth of quality middle and high schools in our area. As Tuloma and Laura said, kids have to travel far and wide when we have in Astoria one of the top 100 high schools in the entire state, consistently ranked, and we want to keep it, we want to grow it. And so often when you come to these community board meetings, you hear about NIMBYism. We don't want this in our backyard. We don't want the neighborhood changing in a profound way. So it's really exciting to be here to talk about a YIMBY opportunity. Yes, in my backyard. Yes, we want a kick-ass middle school and high school to grow and flourish in Long Island City so our kids, when they finish elementary school, could stay within their community and stay with their friends. So just urge you to consider BSGE when thinking about how to revitalize and make the best out of the space. Thank you so much for your time.
Christina, and congrats on CB1. and then Leo.
Hi, good evening. Can you hear me okay? Okay, great. My name is
Yes.
Christina Chase. Thank you so much. I'm second vice president of Ravenswood Houses Resident Association and a new member of Community Board 1. Yet I'm speaking on behalf of myself tonight. I'm here today to urge members of Community Board 2 to oppose the 1LIC rezoning plan. This 1LIC rezoning plan will further exacerbate racial and economic inequalities in our community. By omitting Queensbridge houses from the study area and excluding Ravenswood houses from the context area, that's over 10,000 residents, many of which have lived here for over a quarter of a decade. Century. This study is not a valid representation of the neighborhood. NYCHA is 90% Black and Latino, and by leaving us out, the racial and economic demographics and projected socioeconomic impacts are not valid and legitimate. For the city to propose all of these luxury towers to surround and suffocate the largest public housing development in the country and literally leave them in the shadows is the most egregious, violent form of gentrification and structural inequity I've ever witnessed. This would extend the legacy of state-sanctioned segregation. We need to go back to the drawing board. As a resident who participated in these town halls since fall 2023, I can guarantee you that residents' voices, especially those of public housing residents, were not incorporated.
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah,
gaslit
that's literally.
and heartbroken.
Can I talk about anything else? We can talk
I'm
about
someone
random things.
talking over
Please
me.
mute yourself if you.
If it's not regarding like meeting up, but like, oh.
As I was saying, I feel
if we see
gaslit.
something that's like, oh my god, like.
Okay. Yeah, continue. Thank you.
Christina, you're muted.
Christina, hang on.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay,
Okay, I've been
take 30
going.
more seconds.
Thank you. I implore you to look at the documents and visuals that leave us out. We said over and over again to DCP, no luxury towers, especially in flood zones and especially around Queensbridge, but our words fell on negligent ears because this plan never included us, past, present, or future. LIC has experienced 4 times the amount of development or gentrification than that of New York City at large. We don't need more inequitable development. Please note, income restricted does not mean affordable. This plan proposes almost 15,000 apartments and only 800, less than 6%, are deemed affordable at 40% AMI, which is still inaccessible to the average NYCHA family. That is unethical and despicable. We deserve waterfront resiliency, more public schools, and more public green space, but not at the cost of selling out our community for the city investments we've been waiting for, the city investments we deserve. I implore you to vote no to this plan and to stand up against community displacement, disenfranchisement, and disregard. This is not a done deal. We have the right to say no to this rezoning. Vote no. Thank you.
Thank you, Christina. Leo.
Hey, Anatole. Hey, Anatole, this is Julie Wen.
Hi.
I just want to say something on the record because I want to make sure that we're
Please,
being clear. So for this study, we intentionally did not put Queensbridge houses into the study because we do not support rad impact. But it is part of the study area to make sure, part of the context area, so that it is part of the racial equity and the environmental study plan. And if you currently look at the zoning map, there won't be any residential towers within 1 block of Queensbridge houses or north of it. So I want to make sure that's clear, and it's still manufacturing, which means that it's going to be M5, I believe. Haegyeon can confirm. So I want to make sure that that's clear, that there will not be luxury towers next to Queensbridge houses because it's not part of the zoning. You won't have residential there.
Great. Thanks, Julie. Councilmember 1. Leo.
Hello, hi everyone, thanks for your time. I'm Leo Gutman. I live in Court Square. I am in the context area, just outside of the study area in the current special zone. First, I'd like to thank you all for your time, thank DCP for the process, thanks to Councilmember 1 for spearheading this process, and everyone for taking this responsibility seriously. I am here to speak in favor of this plan and to encourage a yes vote from the board. I think the things it has to offer this community are really just too much to pass up. Having in a severe housing crisis with tons of unaffordability. The fact that we can get 14,000 total units and with 4,000 of them being income restricted affordable for the first time in this neighborhood, because the previous rezoning didn't have this program. That's like already a huge win. On top of that, being able to get a more connected waterfront, new public spaces, climate resiliency, these are all things we really badly need for existing renters, people who, their living conditions change, people want to move to the city. There are lots of reasons we need to be building more units, and as a city, we're not doing enough. And LIC is a great place to add more of it with our job centers, with our transit access, lots of good reasons. Let's see. I also want to say, I really appreciated the care that went into the documents I see online, looking at the draft EIS that's up there and seeing what the potential impacts could be that are, adverse impacts and how we can work around them. I heard already that there are proposals for, exemptions or bonuses for open space and schools, which are two of the biggest, adverse impacts. And I encourage us to all stay engaged on making sure we really get the most out of, blunting the worst potential impacts in exchange for the really great stuff we're getting. Thank you.
All right, now 15 minutes on the timer. Thank you. All right, questions. New members first. New members first. All right, Warren.
It's going to be quick. In this proposal, I see that the city is intending to make ongoing investments to schools, but I want to make note to include fire departments, also city or state hospitals. This population is growing immensely. I hear no talk outside of a committee or this community board with the expansion of public hospitals and other city services like fire departments, which are desperately going to be needed. That's all. Thank you.
Thanks, Warren. Randy, new member. Go for it.
Hey, good evening, everyone. This is for DCP. Two requests for some data. One is, can you help us provide data on the housing production of MIH in the last couple of years? I think we're interested in showing total units created, the spread of unit size and what size rather, and what percentage of AMI, with the goal of really understanding the promise of MIH. And understanding what has been sort of promised versus created so that we can understand how this proposal will help. And then second, and I don't know if you can help us connect this with this information, is there's been some questions on property tax impact, of course, especially in neighborhood rezonings, in properties that have been substantially modified. We would assume that property tax for that plot will go up. But I guess I'm interested in lots and houses and people who don't improve their homes. Have their property taxes gone up? Have they gone down? What have been the effect?
Thanks for your question, Randy. Can you do me a favor and send your, is it okay? Send your question over to Ty. Send it over to Debbie. Is that okay? Just because I want to make sure that when we come to the working task force meeting, we'll be answering all the questions and collecting it so that our team can get started.
Perfect. Yeah, I'll send it tonight. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Jewel Pay, yep.
Thank you. It looks good, but the question is coming here regarding the hospitals, education facilities. Guys, as you know that District 24 Education District is not a good standard. If you compare to the District 25, District 26, we are the same cities, but the education is really bad in our district. I was in CAC last terms, 21, 23. So we are fighting so many for the good school, the school ratio, still we have a 30 student in a classroom, just one teacher, it's really bad. The city was decided should be not the more than 15 student in a class ratio and a teacher. So make sure in this community have more education opportunity is a standard, which is already mentioned. Many parents are here. I'm definitely with them. So make sure that our children, our future, grow up with a nice environment. Thank you.
Great. Brad, then Lisa.
Yeah, this is just a question about the floor area exemption for schools, which seems like it's the primary mechanism for providing new schools in the neighborhood. And if that has precedence in the city and other neighborhoods, and how successful it is actually in generating, schools being, I don't know how it's done, if it's like a white box that is then leased up by the developer, but how successful that mechanism is typically in generating schools in new development.
Oh, did you want to
No,
answer?
I will come back to you and look to see if there's any precedent, but we are thinking that this is a great opportunity, as you've heard from my presentation, of taking that exemption and really incentivizing it for a private developer to really bring this need into this community. So I'll get back to you on the precedent portion.
Can I add?
Oh, yeah, thanks.
I don't think there is a precedent on the exemption, but there are a lot of mixed-use schools in the city. There are certain examples in downtown Brooklyn and downtown Manhattan where you have schools on the base, like the first floors, and then you have residential above. Adding this exemption is really, like Hae Kyung said, is just to create space that's not there for developers and incentivizing. So there's that collaboration between the school construction authority and a private developer on private land. So there's not a lot of publicly owned land, so this is really a way so that we could find opportunities for school space.
So an example from the neighborhood, this is truly one again. I wish I could be there, sorry, I'm at City Hall because we had stated today. But basically, two examples that you can look at is 384 from Gotham Point's development, as well as PSMD, which is, I believe, TFC's development when it was formerly TFC plus Rock Rose in one company. So right now we are in conversation with developers for middle school commitment, as well as 2 to 8 commitments, and we are in active conversation for BSGE for high school as well. So we hope to have good news coming your way, but we want to make sure that it's finalized before they are public. But know that as a local parent myself, that it is something that we look at very closely and have been working on, as well as Parcel E and Parcel C. I forget if it's Parcel C or E. I think it's Parcel C in Hunters Point South, which is public owned land by HPD. That is in active construction now to become a school as well. So that's already in construction. And we also have Court Square Elementary School, which is going to be K-8 with limited middle school capacity until the new middle school opens up, which is going into demolition as well. So we have 2 schools in addition to the 3 to 4 that we're exploring that are going to be open no matter what.
This is a request of city planning to elaborate on the adjacency of the R10 with Queensbridge houses at the working group. So can we discuss that in more detail there? It's not that we have to discuss it all now, but in the map, it looks like there's the R10 that really is adjacent to Queensbridge. So I'd like to know a little bit more about that. Thank you.
Christine.
Yes, hi. Thank you, Hae Kyung. I think we also need to better understand what you refer to as the bonus provisions, because if I understand correctly, all the open space that you showed really beyond, both on the waterfront, beyond the walkway, and the inland spaces, those are all only created by bonus provisions which allow the builder to go higher than the heights that you showed as the height restrictions, and also to create more built space, so more units, which would also push the units above the 14,700 that you're quoting. And I think we really need to understand the impact of those bonus provisions, if those are the only way we're going to get any open space.
Riley?
Hi, thank you. Thank you so much for the presentation. I'm the chair of the Transportation Committee, and I just want to paraphrase you. You said that DCP is working with other agencies to essentially improve the streetscape and public realm, but I haven't seen anything from DOT about any kind of plan for this neighborhood. We see when DOT takes a thoughtful approach and uses its toolbox from Vision Zero on places like 39th Avenue, Skillman, and 43rd Avenue in Sunnyside, that traffic slows down, pedestrians have safer crossings, and there's hardly any conflict between the different modes of transportation. It would be very easy for the DOT to just come up with a plan for this area since we know the zoning and we know the needs. And DOT can also spot places for plazas, for open space. If you have any communication from DOT about their plans for the future, we'd love to see it.
Thank you for your comment and question, Riley. I'll say that the 21st, May 21st, I'm excited to say that it'll be an opportunity for not only city planning, but our partner agencies to come together to answer all these questions. But yes, we are proactively working with DOT on public realm that I've been repeating in my presentation. So we'll bring that up.
Yeah, I have a few things I want to say. One thing is just a reminder to the community board, this community meeting that we're going to have in LaGuardia should definitely get publicized in the Long Island City area, even if it means somehow getting volunteers to go door to door. I don't want to hear people come in and say 4 years later they weren't told. Secondly, to all of you in the community board, there is a summary of the EIS that Preet has done, which is an excellent summary. If you don't have time to go through the 1,000 pages of the EIS, I suggest you look at I think it's 17 pages that Preet did. The next thing I want to bring out is that we've got a lot of mitigation needs that have been pointed out in this program. We have a situation where we have a government in Washington that may be pulling out all or most of the funds coming our way. There's going to be a great strain on the city and the state budgets. I would like you somehow to look at the idea of the developers paying for some of these mitigation needs. I know it's going to be hard on them because they're being asked to do other things, but otherwise it's not going to get done. We've talked before about sewers and everything else that needs to be done, and if there's not money to do it, what are you going to say to us then? And then the only other thing I wanted to talk about, read my own handwriting, is I would request that members of the community board think about submitting your questions in writing so that we can give them to the appropriate agencies prior to the meeting so that we don't get the response of, I will look into it and get back to you. Think about it. We can do it. We all have questions. Let's put them in writing.
Amen. Leticia.
Hi, so I had questions about what are the parameters or what's the breakdown for the income restricted housing? And I asked because I was just Googling it and I didn't find anything yet, but the median rent in LIC is about $3,500 for a studio, or no, a single one apartment. And in this part of, in CB2, according to the the Citizens Committee for Children, the median income for a family with children is $78,000. And you guys are only providing 4,000 apartments that are gonna be considered income restricted. So I'm just wondering what's gonna happen, like where are these apartments gonna, who are these apartments going to be made for, the other 10,000? And how are you going to prioritize the residents of this community board, that have been here, that have put in their time in this community, before you start welcoming transplants and gentrifiers? Because that's literally what the housing that you're building is going to be for. It's going to be for them. It's not going to be for the people in the community. So I really would like to see what the breakdown for the income restricted housing is going to be. And yeah, and I mean, people keep moving west. So once the rent over there gets established and those buildings are become housing, those people are not gonna be able to afford it. And in 10 years from now, we're gonna get displaced and everyone's gonna, we're just gonna continue this cycle of gentrification and displacement.
Yeah, thank you for that question. I think actually I was looking on Street Easy a couple weeks ago, and it seems like one bedrooms in the LIC area is more like 4,000, 4,500 market rate, which is a lot of money for all of us. I mean, most of us, even working folks with the paycheck, it does seem so unattainable. So currently, right now in LIC, there's no mandatory inclusionary housing. So buildings are going up. They could just be all market rate. There's nothing sort of holding them to it. So with one LIC, we are going to map mandatory inclusionary, which are the income restricted units. So a portion of the total units of any new building that gets built after this plan is passed will have to require about 25%, either 25 or 30%. So as part of the proposal, we have all the options, options 1 through 3, that could be mapped throughout the rezoning area. So that is a conversation with the community, that's a conversation with a council member in what gets mapped on one LIC. And so different options have different AMIs, and there will be units that would be for those making about $72,000, the median rent that you were talking about. So there are different ranges, and it's based on household size and the amount that you make that you could qualify for those units. But we're also happy to provide more information as we continue with this process as well.
Building on that question, will there be priority given to families in shelters? Different days in question I always have.
Yep, we're gonna have supportive housing as one of the options that we choose. I know the voice of God coming from above, I'm sorry to interject. But we are still working with Central Land Use, DCP, as well as our land use team to come up with all the different options that we have now in our toolbox. And we're also looking at affordable home ownership for affordable condos through the Open Doors program and looking at HPD programs for supportive housing for those who are formerly homeless, the way that we currently have at Gotham Point. So we're exploring all of that. And unfortunately, it was deemed illegal for us to give community board preference. So I forget which year it is, but I think in the next year or two now, we used to be allowed to, the city of New York was allowed to give preference to current residents of that community board district. But we were sued as a city, and the courts decided that it is illegal to discriminate against others. So now it is going to be an open lottery to any New York City resident instead of the community board residents getting priority, which is how it had been done. It is very sad.
But could it just be priority to families in shelters who can't afford
Yes.
housing right now?
Yep, that's going to be for the supportive housing set aside.
Thank you. Camille wait, did you have a question? Okay. Yeah, we're at the time, so Camille, last question.
But affordable housing ratio should be increased, definitely. Everyone's
Thank you.
The ratio of the affordable housing. Yep. The percentage must be upgraded.
Go ahead.
Just a very surface level comment. In what you shared, it felt like the images and renderings don't look like the Long Island City I know today. It felt like the pictures and images were quite old and don't reflect the level of development. So a request for you to use updated graphics and images that are realistic and reflect the neighborhood. Thank you.
Yeah.
Camille, the last time I presented the zoning districts, you said it was too technical. Did it help this time a little bit?
Yes.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. I noted the difference and I appreciated it. Thank you.
Yeah, all right. 5 more meetings. And DCP will be at every once from May 13th. So, I mean, again, thank you for keeping it under an hour. Thanks for coming to us for twice a week for 90 minutes. And yeah, let's power through. Also, yeah, and the sunny side, there's a two-bedroom unit on Carisha's block that's going for $4,300 a month, and I saw a three-bedroom somewhere on Jackson in LIC for $3,500. So stuff don't make sense. And it makes total sense why, but also it doesn't make sense, but also makes sense. Things are complicated. Yeah. Maury, please.
Just to piggyback what you just said, Anatole, if you're looking at an apartment and you see a crazy rent like that, try to get the rent history report. You can get it by calling 311 or going on the website, because you might wind up being in a situation like I was for 15 years, where I was being illegally charged market rate, and it was supposed to be rent stabilized because they were getting subsidies. So get your rent history report and make sure you're not being overcharged.
And do the due diligence too, because they'll use every variation of the apartment number. Every variation. So think about every way that your apartment could have been listed, and look up. And I think it's a separate request for each unit you think it might be, right? So when I was in your building in 4D, so it could have been 4 space D or D space 4. Or,
when they do upgrades to your apartment, they might say that they did $60,000, and this is no joke. They might say they did $60,000 in renovations, and then they're allowed to upgrade or increase the rent a certain amount for that. And they don't have to show DHCR or the city that they actually did those. They don't have to show the receipts. The only way they have to show the receipts, the literal receipts, is if you make a claim against them.
Yep.
That's our city working for us.
All right, attendance, Ryan.
Wait, sorry, I just want to make one correction for myself.
Yeah, go ahead, Julie.
I was corrected rightfully by Miss Lisa Deller that the courts ruled that we just have it's not any longer going to be 50% community preference, but it's going to be a smaller percentage. If Lisa can just tell us what the percentage is it 15% now instead of 50? Oh yeah, 15%. So I just want to make that correction so that I'm not misinforming people. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie. Thank you very much. Wait, sorry. Lisa, wait for the mic.
So according to the New York Times in 2024, there was a lawsuit, and the percentage was decreased to 20% until April 2029. So starting in May 2029, the share drops to 15%. So I'm just looking at the New York Times, but thank you.
All right, good evening. Time for attendance. Amparo Abelbay.
Present.
All right. Nelly Afshar. Anatol Ashraf. Present. John Bahia. Excused. Anne Marie Baranowski. Present. Carisha Batan. Here. Nick Berkowitz. Here. Danielle Brecker. Present. Carlos Castel-Croak. Evelyn Chango. Lisa Charles. Absent. Tanya Chavez.
Present. Online.
Thanks. Osman Chowdhury. Absent. Steve Cooper. Present. Warren Davis. Lisa Deller. Maury Gallinoy. Dr. Raz Danutzos. Alexandra Gonzalez.
Present. Online.
Camille Gray. Kenny Greenberg. Corey Hannigan. Absent. Mohammed Hossein. Christine Hunter. Diana Kitchler. James Kim. Excused. Pramit Kumar. Permeet, can you speak up online?
His audio isn't working.
Oh, no, what do you want to do about it? Okay. All right. Chimay Lama. Bradford Laban. Sheila Lewandowski. Benjamin Lucas. Absent. Patrick Martinez. Eric Narberg. Andy Olivares. Absent. Riley Owens. Jolly Patel.
Here, present, online.
All right, thanks. Randy Plumel.
Present online.
Pia Raman. Maya Saab. Okay, we'll come back. Norberto Saldana. Excused. Alyssa Sawicki.
Here, online.
Fajelzin Sherpa. Ryan Smith, I am here. Caroline Spitzer. Lauren Springer. Kello Thomas. Absent. Maurice Valdez. Elena Van Sluten. Letitia Vasquez. And Michael Zorab. All right. We have a quorum. I guess we can come back to Maya when she's ready. Yeah. 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 Mhm.
Awesome, thank you, Ryan. For the minutes, I know they were sent out a little later, so. Right. So if no objection, we'll just approve them next month. So May, in May we'll do April and, no, wait, this is May and June we'll do. May and June, exactly. Awesome, all right. So I'll be as brief as I can. Happy spring, I guess. A couple of interesting reports from Borough Board. Claire is gone. The Parks Department has an update to the neighborhood tree planting program. I'm just going to read off the summary. They've implemented a new efficient block planting strategy for their neighborhood tree planting program, prioritizing heat-vulnerable neighborhoods and surveying all blocks for planting opportunities. The new approach ensures every community board receives service at least once every 3 years, with all zones served on a 9-year cycle. So they'll no longer take individual tree planting requests, but instead systematically inspect and plant trees in each neighborhood. So if they make a visit per block, they'll look at the whole block, and if you call 311, they'll just tell you that from now on. The transition phase is from 2024 to 2026, and I posted the press release in the chat. We also took a vote at Borough Board meeting. And also, if you don't know, that's the monthly meeting at Queens Board President's office where all the chairs of the boards meet and do things or take presentation. And we voted to allow city council members to send a delegate to Borough Board meetings when they have to be there. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And DEP gave a presentation on flooding, and Alfonso Lopez, the DEP commissioner, reaffirmed his offer to do walkthroughs, but I thought we were getting special treatment with the walkthroughs. But all right, board business. New members, you saw the onboarding documents. So that's a campaign promise delivered. It just took like 1 year to get it done. And it's on the website. The link is in the chat. And it's a living page, so more will be added with time. Committee assignments, I usually try to do that by the time we had the new member meeting, but I'll just do it now. Pia, Arts and Culture. Corey Hannigan, stay on Transpo. Fugelsen, you're on Health and Human Services. Elena, you stay on Environment. Evelyn, you're on Small Business and Local Economy. Also, like the chairs of the committees, like raise your hand so they know who to bother. Yeah, we'll do. Randy, you're on. Randy and Amaris, you're on Engagement and Inclusion because. you're great at it from what I've seen already, and I'm excited for for y'all to join Tanya and Patrick. And Alyssa, you're on Health and Human Services. And just as a point of clarification, you said your second choice was the Unhoused Task Force, which is a part of Health and Human Services. So, and Lauren's back there. And Brad, you're on land use, but that's got to be enough architects on land use. We got to make room for other folks. All right, and without further ado, let's move to our treasurer vote. We'll just follow the process we did last time, where the secretary takes one vote as representative for.
We have to do this roll call.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to do this roll call, as is the process, I think.
Since there is no opposition, I would make a motion that the secretary cast one vote as a unanimous vote in favor of the candidate.
Second.
All right,
All those in favor?
done.
Any opposed? Wait, let him cast his vote.
One opposition?
One opposition, any abstention?
All right. All right, so I'll put forward the vote for Michael Zurab. And I guess with the vote to have it represent everyone's consensus vote, that's it. Perfect. Congratulations, Michael.
You want to take your seat? Next meeting. All right, and yeah, you got your work cut out for you. We got to get that the survey out in the district needs survey out ASAP. Christine, do you want to come up for a land use? I was just going to go through the One LIC working group plan. So it's been assigned. It's a subset of the land use committee with a few other members and chairs from other committees. And the main task is to do an in-depth review of the ULURP application and the DEI's materials, and prepare a recommendation for the land use committee, so the land use committee can make a recommendation for the full board vote. And all working group meetings, except the first two, will be open to the public. The first two is just within the working group, and anybody else who wants to join, just so folks can plan the work in peace. And then after that, from May 13th, DCP is going to be joining us for 2 90-minute meetings per week. Get your coffee. And we'll have so just the schedule is today, I guess, is the official kickoff per meet schedule. Next Tuesday and Wednesday, May 6th and 7th, are the two closed working group meetings, working group only, plus any other board members who want to join. May 13th and May 4th, from May 13th, 14th, 20th, and 20th are open working group meetings. Wednesday, May 21st is our joint public hearing with CB1 from 6 to 9 at LaGuardia. DCP, I guess, will, Hey Kyung and team, I guess, will figure out the presentation for that as well, or the run of show. And May 28th is another One LIC working group meeting. And then you'll have the draft recommendation for June, and then on June 3rd, we'll discuss it at the full board meeting. Tuesday, June 3rd is a land use committee recommendation vote via Zoom, or recommendation agreement. There's some finagling required. Wednesday, June 4th is your final prep meeting for the working group. Thursday, June 5th is our full board meeting. Should we still have questions, Monday, June 16th will be a regular land use committee meeting for the other things we have on the land use docket. And then Wednesday, June 18th, full board vote right here at Sunnyside Community Services. So yeah, we got work to do. And otherwise, yes, Dr. Ross. Yep, you have your mic. You have to.
Hello, yeah. I wanted you to emphasize the importance of that Wednesday meeting, it's not in our usual schedules, in June, is crucial that you be physically present here, because we have to have a quorum in order to be able to vote. So that if there's one meeting that you must be here, please put that, emphasize that in your calendar.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that is it for me. Christine, yeah, sorry. Okay, great.
Thank you. And I am on the task force, so I will make sure to bring this up in the meetings. But to reiterate what Steve said earlier, can we make sure that the meeting on May 21st at LaGuardia College is publicized in the biggest way possible? Many of my neighbors, like in my building, had no idea this was going on. I am their only conduit to information. So like, we can make flyers. I will pass them out. But also perhaps going to all of our electeds, so Senator Gonzalez, Assembly Member Valdez, and Mondani, and everybody else, and making sure they get the word out, because they all have lists, just as Julie does.
Absolutely, and I think Councilmember 1 is still on the call, so feel free to jump in if you, there you go, go ahead.
We're going to be sending 3 pieces of mail, and there's also going to be door knocking at Queensbridge houses again. We've already done 3 passes. I think there's going to be additional 3 passes of knocking every single door. Mail will be sent, and we can provide additional literature if you'd like to flyer, and there will be tabling at all the public events in Long Island City in the next 2 months to come, and then again in the fall. So digital ads, Link NYC will have them up as well, and digital ads should be going up on social media within Long Island City and probably surrounding areas by zip code. And there's also going to be newspaper ads about the May 21st hearing.
Thank you.
Gracia?
And I know we were also talking about having a tabling presence at the upcoming Woodside on the Move public event on the 10th, as well as at LIC Springs on the 31st. So maybe the board can also, maybe we could put up a informational flyer about what's happening, and perhaps we can also ask the partnership to send it out to their residential list, to all the high-rise tenants and all that, yeah.
Yep, and maybe we want Patrick and Tanya like and you all and Randy like a comms plan of our own. You know, using the CB2 email, you know, and get stuff out there. And yeah, like for flyering, like shout out to Manhattan CB5. Like last year, they had a special hearing about Penn Station, and I would not want to be responsible for Penn Station, so shout out to that. The volunteers go out and they flyer every corner of like, yeah, and then it's over there, yeah, exactly. And so when I was in One Penn Plaza, I saw like the flyers there. So yeah, let's do as much as we can. And then Debbie, we can do like a special, like, you know, you do the Pitney Bowes special mailing, and it'll go out to everybody. Okay, Debbie. Sorry? We can try. Oh, Julie sent it in already.
We send it every month.
And then we send it also ourselves.
Good evening. Not going to keep you long. I want to thank Julie. One, she's already started to publicize it on social media because I saw it and I liked it. So thank you, Councilwoman. Just a quick update. We all attended the new board members swearing in. That's always a positive refresher for older members and new members. It's always good to know. Speaking of that, we have our EEO packets. If you haven't gotten one and you haven't signed for one, please make sure before the end of the meeting you stop here on your way out the door and get your EEO packet. Sanitation, we are still waiting for the composting decals, as DOS had to order more for the agency. So that I am assured that's why it's taking longer than it would normally. Should have called. We have 24 complaints for the month of April. Our top complaints were sanitation, garbage, DOT, potholes, pedestrian walkways, and park street trees. So those were the top 3 for this month. I wish everybody a happy, and we also attended the Borough President's State of the Borough. Of course, as you know, Long Island City was one of his highlights, as well as many other events throughout the borough. So with that, the next meeting is on, the next official board meeting is June 5th, among the other meetings, and we'll just keep watching for all of our stuff, so thank you.
And then we'll get everything on the calendar also.
Exactly.
Hello. I'm going to hold this. Hi, everybody. At the last transportation meeting, we had a presentation by DOT about the new high school on Northern Boulevard at 51st Street. It is a high school. There's going to be a lot of students, so they need to make some street safety changes there, specifically on Northern Boulevard between Woodside and Broadway. There's now going to be a solid concrete median which prevents left turns on Woodside Avenue from Northern Boulevard going west. So they're also doing the median to limit any kind of turns across the avenue into driveways because that's where people get hit. Because there's no left turn on Woodside Avenue from Northern, people are making that turn are going to have to take a little bit of a loop up 51st Street or Newtown, kind of back around the neighborhood, back another way. But they said at peak, there's only 40 vehicles that make that left turn. So this is a street safety improvement. The committee had concerns that the improvement did not include protected bike lanes. There are bike lanes there that are separated by paint and flex posts, but it is a school, so that means people are going to be parking in the bike lane a lot. We brought that up to DOT, and they said because there's a subway underneath that road, it's a little bit harder to put concrete there, but they're going to look into it. And then we also advocated for trees to be planted in that median because there's not a lot of trees there. We had a presentation by a research scientist who works at an aeronautics and space administration. The national one? Yeah, the national one. To present to us open data in a way that was easy to understand about traffic violence, car and bicycle violence within our district, to crunch the data and show it to us, specifically because she lives in a part of Manhattan where there's a lot of advocacy against e-bikes and trying to get e-bikes registered. So she showed us that there is a lot more car violence against pedestrians and cyclists than there is any kind of e-bike or bike violence or conflicts against anybody else. It is pretty disparate. There was a lot of information. That's pretty much the takeaway. She told us that there is an organization called beta.nyc, beta.nyc, that helps CBs understand the open data, the city's open data on stuff like this. Yeah, and then finally, I asked DOT about Dutch Kills Green, that little parklet in Queens Plaza, about whether they will continue to maintain it or if it will go to Parks. They said the history of it is that it was Parks and it was transferred to DOT, and that they are in the process of finalizing better management within the DOT. And that's as far as they got. Yeah. Yeah? No, I was going to talk about next month's meeting, but I can answer questions first. I got Lisa.
I'll give it to Steve in a second. I just have a question about the relative comment of accidents with car versus accidents with e-bikes. I mean, I've seen testimony at City Council where people who were hurt by e-bikes really had profound injuries. So I was wondering, what is the point of having this be a relative, one is more than the next, when they both equally injure pedestrians in a serious and profound way?
Sure. Yeah, I think there's just a citywide effort and advocacy to really crunch down on e-bikes right now. So seeing that, for one thing, it was pointed out that because bikes are typically closer to the curb and typically pass pedestrian places, maybe more often than cars do, they have an effect that startles us, that makes us kind of big, whoa, a bike just went by. They're also very quiet. So it feels like bikes and e-bikes are more of a menace. So having the data presented to us shows that there's a much greater injury from cars. This was not an agenda or a political thing. This was a thing. There are ways to prevent conflict between bikes, e-bikes, and pedestrians and cars, which is Vision Zero, which is using tools to separate with physical infrastructure and making sure that every intersection is treated in a way where pedestrians can cross safely. But that was the presentation that we had. Yeah.
Yeah, I happened to listen in on part of that presentation by accident when I was trying to get the Long Island City plan. And I heard the presentation, or quite a bit of it, regarding the Northern Boulevard changes.
Yeah.
The change that they're making to prohibit left turns heading westbound onto Woodside Avenue just seemed to be crazy to me. I mean, it's like a 3/4 of a mile detour and causing problems in other areas which don't have that problem now. And just wondering, did the committee take a vote to agree with that provision, or you just listened to the presentation?
We took a vote. We took a vote to ask for protected bike lanes and street trees, but not saying yes or no to it. Generally, we like it. The reason for no left turn is because there will be no more left turn bay, because the median will take the place of the existing bay, and because it is a heavily used road and a truck route, they couldn't make a new turn bay, which it would make it a one lane road if there was a turn bay there. So just eliminating all left turns there and having a loop around was.
Keep in mind, please, I mean, I'm a driver and I don't bicycle much, so maybe I'm prejudiced. Yeah. But when we changed Sunnyside Gardens and made certain one-way streets, although it's had a great effect in quieting 39th Avenue, it has had a negative effect on some other streets where people are now going where the park is on the other side of that small housing development, and that's become a problem. So every time we do this, we should have to think that there's going to be another problem created somewhere else.
Sure, yeah.
Be careful about that.
Yeah. They did say at peak it's only 40 vehicles that do this. You know, every project, and I'm not speaking for DOT, but this is my understanding. Every project starts from compromise. There's got to be, you know, through traffic. We got to keep the vehicles moving, but we also have to keep people safe from death and injury. And because there are so many driveways on that section of Northern Boulevard, because of the GameStop place and McDonald's and everything, they wanted to make sure there were no more left turns within that strip.
Yeah, I think also it's not 3/4 of a mile detour. If you think of a triangle of the extension of Woodside Ave, which is whatever it's called, and 54th Street or something, and the intersection, all you have to do is go down on the other side of Staples and make a turn there, and you'll be coming across. So it's in essence, if you think of it as a triangle, instead of being able to go on the hypotenuse, you have to go just a little bit around. It's really would not be such an inconvenience. And, you know, a car is a car. It's not, anyway.
Yeah, I always say it's probably the length of a short song. So you just put down the window, play your song, say hi to your neighbors. Driving a car is wonderful. It's a real luxury. It's really nice. Any other questions? Yeah, it would be the Beach Boys. The new Panda Bear album is nice too. And then for next month's meeting, we have a presentation by Assemblymember Stephen Raga about his curbside enforcement bill that he wants, automated curbside enforcement to make sure that anybody who is illegally parked, double parked, parked in a crosswalk is actually getting summonsed for it. I haven't seen that bill or how this would be done, so it'd be nice to hear from him. MTA is presenting its Queens bus redesign implementation. So the implementation starts this summer, and we're going to hear from them about how that's going to start and how it affects us. As pertains to that, what community members brought up about the Q32, I saw that there's a stop on the new plan at 61st Street and a stop at 56th Street, which they mentioned. The stop on 56th Street is a walk up a very, very steep hill. I would say that buses are very nimble, and if a stop is not working and a new stop is better, they could always be fixed. There's no physical infrastructure. I think that the 58th Street stop is probably a very, very busy intersection that they want to keep moving. But if you are a community member and you want to see a stop remain there, please keep advocating to your council member and your elected officials and to us at the community board so that we keep hearing about it. And then finally, we are also getting a presentation by DOT on the 29th Street Open Plaza at LaGuardia Community College. So they wanted to throw that in and show us what they're doing. That is on Tuesday, May 6th. Thank you.
Lauren?
Okay, Health and Human Services and Education, Unhoused Shelter Committee. So at our last meeting was actually a joint meeting with Transportation Committee. We invited someone to come speak to us about subway surfing. So we had, this was Chantel Cabrera. She's the New York City Transit Senior Director of Subways and Coordination Solutions. So she discussed why youth engage in subway surfing, which is not a new phenomenon. It dates back to like the 1980s, but increased prevalence. And she talked about ways to divert. So she talked about like other thrill-seeking activities that youth could engage in, and then the possible career options. So whether they join the NYPD, whether they do like rock climbing, what different things like that. But just so you know, she's part of there's a partnership of different agencies, and that include MTA, the Department of Youth and Community Development, NYPD, that are meeting regularly in order to sort of come up with like a multi-pronged approach to deal with the issue. Definitely check out the minutes when they come out. They're really detailed, and we were hoping to get the PowerPoint deck to be able to display, but not sure if we have the approval for that. But anyway, it was excellent, and it was something that we really have been pushing for to get because of all of these incidents that are coming up. The other thing that we discussed that came up under old business was the Medicare Advantage. I don't know if you remember last year there was a whole lot of about trying to move the New York City retirees into this Medicare Advantage plan. The bill has been reintroduced. So even though, we had widespread support from the community board and everything else like that, I think the way that it was, my understanding is the way that it was introduced, and this is something that Julie Wan had said, that it had to be because of the change in council members or whatever, it had to be reintroduced. It has been with minor changes. So what the committee decided to do was just approve it, given that we had unanimous support for this. And then, so we'll have that in place. Yeah. And our next meeting is May 12th, 6 p.m. It's virtual to new members who I welcome. So thank you. I'm glad that we've got 2 new members. So that's it. Okay.
For the rest of this, we can stay mobile if you like. We can stay where you are if you'd like. I think we were just coming up anyway, but yeah.
You want me to stay here? I'll stay here.
Up to you.
No, it's fine. Okay. Hi, everyone. So last month's Arts and Culture, MoMA PS1 came by. There is a new mural up on the site where there was a previous mural. So if you've seen that mural before, look again. It's a new one. We also had, I just gave a quick update on Bliss Theater. We invited the developer to come speak to us at next month's meeting. Why does this keep going up? Okay. So hopefully they will come back for June.
Battery's dying.
Had an update from Dirk McCall from Sunnyside Shines. Sorry, I'm just scanning through my notes. They are doing a cultural initiative. I don't know if anybody's caught the programming yet, but every Thursday they have some cultural programming in the plaza down at Lowry and then ending at Bliss. So please go and support Thursday evenings. LIC Arts Open is going to be May 14th through 18th. Please check out their website. They have a whole range of programming where all of the art studios are open house format, and there's lots of different new shows up featuring all the artists in the neighborhood, so please go and support. LIC Springs is on May 31st, where you'll also be able to meet a lot of the arts and culturals as well as the small businesses from the neighborhood. And then the last big update from last month was that we got approval from the borough president's office because I had requested that we have a convening of all of the arts and culture committees in the community boards in Queens. Come to discover, there's really only 2 community boards in Queens that have arts and culture committees, and I have a feeling there are a lot more artists in Queens than that. So what we're planning on doing is inviting the committees that encompass their arts and culture programming. So often that falls under nightlife and entertainment committees or sometimes even parks committees. And we'd like to have a convening, and that's going to be at Borough Hall sometime in the fall to talk about what are some of the borough-wide concerns, issues, and ways to engage more artists to become more civically engaged, specifically at a community board level so that there's better representation. How do we start a committee if they want an arts and culture committee on their board? We've learned a lot from our ability to add something like our tech committee. So that was one of the big approvals that we got, and more updates on that soon. And then our next arts and culture meeting is going to be Tuesday, May 13th. We are going to have the folks from Sunnyside Book Swap come and talk to us about how they've been going and what they need. Everybody come through. There's also some grant announcements from the city and state level now that the budgets are out. So thank you.
Danielle.
Hello. So we met last month, and what we're seeing this coming month is that the majority of the applications we're getting on city services are for outdoor dining. This month, they're actually all in Long Island City, but last month we had a mix across all of the communities. We are getting less and less cannabis requests, so I think that's sort of slowing down a bit as more and more shops open. And what I'm going to ask from everyone on the community board, and more, you've already done this, is to send any just tell Debbie, and Debbie will tell Steve and myself, if you see any cannabis shops that look like they're not legal, so they don't have the certificate, but the doors are open, they look like kids could walk in, they don't have the usual, if you sense they're not supposed to be there, they probably don't. And if you see any outdoor dining that looks like it's not right, it has the big shed, it just doesn't look right, try to take a picture, but even if you don't take a picture, alert the board office so that we can just investigate and make sure that that is taken down or not, taken care of. We've also spent a lot of time over the last month dealing with some noise, really extreme noise issues in basically places in Long Island City. We are working with the precinct to try to get that resolved. And lastly, we're going to start to try to have the precinct come to our meetings, maybe not every meeting, but some of the meetings, so that we can address some of the issues that we do sometimes get here at the board with the precinct, be it the new captain or someone else representing them. The next meeting is I don't know when what? The 14th, I know it's the 14th, I don't know if that's next week. It's Wednesday, and we will be there. We will be at the community board office. There is also a hybrid component if you are not an applicant, and we hope to see you. I do have to say that I may be in a task force meeting, so I may not be there, but we do hope to see you, and we welcome new members. Thanks.
Just one more thing to add. When we mentioned the noise complaints, what we do very often in our committee is approve liquor licenses, approve outdoor dining facilities and things like that. What we don't necessarily get is community input into these locations. We have now learned that some of the places we have approved have abused the approval or appear to have abused the approval. We don't know about this unless you guys tell us. So if you hear complaints about a place that's playing music till 2, 3 in the morning, having a very loud presence in the neighborhood. If you hear it from a neighbor, if you hear it yourself, let us know, because we can't do anything unless we know about it. Thank you.
Grisha?
Speaking of, I didn't know about this. I just got a question from my friend. I guess there was Sky Bar that came across, and
Yes.
so I don't even know what it is, but what happened as you guys denied the liquor license, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's underway.
Oh, okay, okay. Got it.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
It's extremely complicated.
Yeah.
Basically, we're on top of it. We've got a lot of agencies involved, but it has not been resolved yet, and I really don't want to comment about it further. Okay? That's why I didn't give the address when I was talking before about these situations.
Yeah.
Just heard from a neighbor. I was like, I don't know.
I'm glad you heard.
Yeah, we're glad because we were concerned that it was only 1 or 2 people, so. Great, or not great, but great.
Everybody
Wait for the.
to call 911 when those situations happen. As we are told by the captain again, 911, 311, you call them when that abuse is happening. There has to be a record online, and when that record goes in, it gives them more juice to continue on the road that we are continuing. But just to add to that, we've spoken to the State Liquor Authority, we've spoken to PD, and it will take a little while, but they are on top of it.
In addition to 911 and 311, please let the community board know also.
Thanks.
Carlos? Yep.
Okay, 2 quick things. Warren and Tom, I don't know if you're online. I do have your letter that we're sending to DC from my committee. I just wanted them to look at it at our meeting last week. I just have to send the final version to Debbie, and then hopefully she can get it out very quickly. The other thing I wanted to mention is I plan on also working with board members and also anyone else in the community who's interested in kind of running like a 311 kind of campaign for local flooding hotspots in our district. So I'm trying to maybe put together like a Google form so that people can add their 311 complaints that they've made and I'll hopefully send it out soon. But the one thing I want folks to do is if there are any locations that you are particularly frustrated that always get flooded in our district, definitely take a picture of them and report them to 311 and then keep track of those numbers and send them to the office. I want to collect a bunch of them over the next month or so, or ever, when the rest of spring is going on, and then send them to DEP, like the top locations, and be like, these ones we really need to do something about, because I think they get a lot of complaints about different flooding in different locations, but it's not as frequent as we would want to see the complaints, and also there's probably so many of them that I want to highlight a few. So there's one particular in my mind, no one can take this one because it's my one, but it's on the south side of 46th Street of Bliss Plaza, like right when you're crossing for the chain. So that's my spot. But we'll send something around so that folks can add them. But it's supposed to rain like 9 times in the next 2 weeks or something. So get your cameras out, take pictures, go out if you know that there's a spot that you want us to look at, and I'm gonna keep track of those.
Thank you, Carlos. And Tanya, to close us out. Oh, did you want to, Maury, you want to skip right this one? Yeah, skip, okay. Tanya.
Hi. Thank you, Anatol. Well, I'm happy to share that we'll be tabling 2 upcoming events at the Woodside Festival on Sunday, May 10th, hosted by the Woodside on the Move, and LIC Springs on Saturday, May 31st, along Burnham Boulevard. We would love everyone to stop by to learn more about what we do at Community Board 2 and why it's important to volunteer in our district. And yes, thank you for the suggestion, Carisha. We'll be sharing more information about the One LIC public events. We're also looking for volunteers to assist with both events. So if anyone's interested in joining the team, please feel free to email the office. Last, our next meeting is Tuesday, May 27 at 6 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. We got a lot of work ahead of us for the next foreseeable future until I'm in Germany in June 23rd. So, motion to adjourn. Second. All right. Have a good night. Happy birthday.